In fact, they just wanted to.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. What the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on the first Monday of April? Also happens to be my wife's birthday.
Happy birthday, wife.
Happy birthday, honey. I love you. And no, I did not have a card for her this morning, but we went away for the weekend. All right. Went away for the weekend. It's not like we did nothing like in past years. You know, I'm realizing now, you know, we're both in our 50s, you know, I'm not taking every day for granted. And even though she doesn't want anything, we, you know,
force it upon her.
We joined,
make her like it, darn it.
Right. We joined forces on a gift that was more for her than me, but it was nice nonetheless.
Good deal.
So I was not an awful husband.
Boy, you are very defensive starting the show today. I didn't even say anything, for crying out loud, other than happy birthday, wife.
Well, I have in the past, you know, because my wife doesn't like
anything,
right, spending money on her. And so, you know, you fight it for a long time, but then once you cross over, then you're like, you don't even, I mean, there have been mornings in which I've gone about and just forgotten it, gone to work and come home and at dinner time said, hey, by the way, happy birthday. I mean, you know, once you cross over, Mark, you can, it's just another day.
Apparently.
Well,
I know that wouldn't fly in certain households, particularly mine.
It wouldn't, but just imagine it builds up every day for like 12, 15 years. That's all.
You don't care? Then I don't care. At a certain point, if you're going to tell me, I want nothing, do nothing, act as if it is nothing, well, sooner or later it becomes nothing.
But you know what? This year, damn it, it's something. It was something.
The good news is you can always stop by a CVS or a Walgreens and just get a big bag of Hershey Kisses and throw them on the desk. And that's gold. That's like Godiva chocolates to most everybody else.
Yeah. And to my wife, it really is. That's
I know.
True.
No,
I mean, if I get one of those Hershey Kisses, the dark chocolate with the almonds, oh my goodness.
Winter chicken dinner.
I mean, that's like a weekend getaway right there at my house. I mean, that's
tell you what, buy a bag
deal.
of them and just place them different spots around the house so she can just like Easter eggs for her.
Oh, see, you're way too, you know, you're still, you guys haven't even been married 10 years yet.
Be 10 years this year.
Yeah, right.
Coming up.
You know, we've been married, you know, it's coming up on 26. No, I come home and go, hey, honey, and just open it up and just put it right there, right in front of her. Here you go. You don't even have to walk to the cupboard. This is how much I love you. Right here. You just stay right there. I bring them to you. How was your weekend? All righty then. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network.
How was yours?
It was fine. It was fine. Saw the grandchild.
Well, that's always a positive.
We drove across the state and saw the grandchild.
No, I had a good weekend. We just it was my brother-in-law's 50th birthday, and he is a full-fledged Star Wars geek.
Oh, really?
So we went to Hollywood Studios and met him at the happiest place in the world.
Oh my goodness! This time of year, you did Disney?
Yes.
I'm surprised you're still not in line.
I think I just got out of it.
Oh,
I got a fast pass to get to work this morning.
Please tell me you did one of those.
We had them. It was fine. I mean,
fine.
Yeah,
fine. Was that an authentic fine, or is that that's the
word?
I
believe it or not, had a great time in line because they have 3 kids. We have a child. I can't recall the last time the 4 of us have ever spent that much time together where we could talk without being interrupted by mothers-in-law, children, or what have you.
Right.
So from that standpoint, it was great. I actually got to spend a lot of time talking to them. Good. So that was.
Did you get a chance Saturday night to see any of the games?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes
there were certain times that I had to put my foot down.
Right.
And when the skies let out on Saturday in Orlando, and I mean let out, full on storms,
Yeah.
it was nasty. And I got them out of there. And I just looked at my wife. I says, we're going to go back to our hotel because we're going to have dinner that night. We had a big room and they were coming. We're just getting takeout. And I said, all right, I'm going back. I'm going to get a shower. And then I'm going to watch basketball. They're all coming over, but basketball's going to be on, okay?
Right, 6 to 11.
And the good news is Kansas took it to Nova.
Sure.
Pretty good. So I was preparing for the late game anyhow. Right. So the early game didn't have a lot of drama. Kansas kind of had it in check. Nova made a couple of runs, tried very desperately to make that a game. It did a hell of a job in the second half.
Let me tell you, the level of play from Kansas and Nova the first 14 minutes of the second half, and you thought, wow, this is going to be the best basketball we're going to see all day. And then Duke and Carolina, after the first 5 minutes, in which, and Barkley said it at halftime, he said, boy, both teams were nervous. They were tight. But once they got to that first TV timeout, they came out. They gave us 35 minutes of
terrific.
Hey, this is about as good as we can do, folks. Let's see who wins at the end.
Yep, that's as good as the college product can get anymore. I really believe that semifinal is about as good as that they can give us from shot making standpoint, talent on the floor, playmakers making plays, all the little silly cliches you want to throw in. But I don't know if today's college basketball with one and dones and just how the game has evolved, I don't know how much better we can get than what we got on Saturday night.
Well, I mean, last year also we got an epic semi that was actually better if you go by just the shooting percentages and what have you. But we've been lucky the last 2 years. We have had two great semifinals.
Right.
Great semifinals that people will talk about years from now. I mean, not Duke, Kentucky, all right, although some wanted to say that last year about Gonzaga and UCLA. But put it this way. It was something that even we on the Florida Sports Network, we spent Monday and Friday hyping up. Monday was the realization of, wow, Duke and Carolina are going to play for the first time ever in the tournament. Man, and then you got obviously the Coach K storyline. This is remarkable. And so then Friday we delved into the game. And here we are, a few miles away. But that's how big it was. And the game was better than the hype.
And that very rarely, if ever, happens. And why I think last night might even, I know percentage-wise that the UCLA Zag game might pan out a little bit better. There's a few more pros on the court last night. Or Saturday night, rather. There was...
Maybe. Yeah, when it turns out,
7 pros on the court.
Yeah. I think when we look back, there will be more guys in the association from this Saturday's game than a year ago Saturday's, but probably 4 though from last year.
Yeah.
But it could be more from this year. But it was so nice, Mark, to watch 2 semifinals in which outside of maybe one stretch at the beginning of the second game, and Villanova struggled for the first 10 minutes. But Kansas played 40 really good minutes of basketball, and Villanova played 30 really good minutes.
With 5 guys.
And Duke and Carolina gave us 35 minutes of about as well as they could play. It was so nice to see teams hit shots.
Yeah, a little offense.
Oh, thank goodness.
In a sport that can get just smothered in defense from time to time.
Well, there's a lot of contact. I mean, I will say it is not an easy sport to officiate. It's not. But there's a ton of contact in that sport. And they're going to have to make a decision because otherwise you have to shoot that well to score in the 70s. The 70s. The game probably needs a little loosening up. But we end up with Kansas and Carolina. A 1-8. Which brings back memories of Georgetown Villanova, a 1-8, in which the 8 won.
And you could see similarities in that the point spread in this game is not that great.
It's only 4,
right?
Which is about half of what it was when it was Georgetown and Nova in 85.
And you're going to see a North Carolina team that's going to play with 6 guys
and that's with one guy's ankle being frozen and shot up. Okay, he's not even going to know. Okay, he has a lower extremity. But as he said after the game, they said, hey, about coming back in. And he goes, well, I was sitting on the bench and I realized this is Duke and Carolina in the tournament, and we're playing the greatest game we've ever played. I got to get back in there. Can't sit this out. Some were wondering about ratings, by the way, even a couple of comments in our Twitch chat room, because it was on TBS. Most years, the semis and the finals are on CBS. But if you go back 2015 when Kentucky was unbeaten and they played Wisconsin in the semis, it was also on TBS. 2015 outrated Saturday night.
Wow.
And obviously 2015 had Kentucky
right
against Wisconsin, and obviously a blue blood, and they were undefeated. 2 blue bloods and the Coach K angle. Both the late game on a Saturday night on TBS, 7 years apart. Kentucky, Wisconsin outrated it.
I will say I was 15 when that game happened, and I vividly remember watching it.
Sure, because in your lifetime, there have been very few teams who had gotten to the Final Four undefeated. Hell, there's been very few in our lifetime since Bobby Knight and the 76 Hoosiers.
I'm surprised. I actually am surprised that would hold out and beat Duke Carolina. But it, like you said, Kentucky, the other side of it is Wisconsin, so you've got another region of the country. You have 2 ACC teams.
Right. As opposed to bringing in the whole Midwest. And then, maybe even more of good cop, bad cop, black hat, white hat 7 years ago. Maybe.
And since Coach K's beaten up on the Big Ten for 40 years, maybe they just didn't want to watch another Coach K. Who knows?
Yeah, and maybe they'd heard enough about Coach K in the last few weeks. But it also shows how splintered the audience has gotten every year. We talk all the time about ratings and how outside of the NFL, nothing is rating what it did pre-pandemic. Well, this is just 7 years ago, and something as epic as Duke Carolina. Coach K's never happened before. Yeah, it still wasn't Kentucky, Wisconsin from 7 years ago. Same network, same time.
Miller and Moulton. You can text the show by texting FSN Radio to 21,000. Your thoughts on the Final Four weekend, the championship game tonight, or anything that may have happened over the course of the weekend's events, whether it was the Grammys or WrestleMania last night. People were going bat blank crazy over Johnny Knoxville in WrestleMania last night.
And Pat McAfee apparently took a pounding, earning people's respect. Punters are athletes after all, Mark.
Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening. Pretty good show lined up. Starting 5, about 20 minutes away, right here on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, 45 on Twitch, too.
See, the thing is, the way I have it set up, it's really not that difficult because the only button that I press here is the button to start the queue.
Here's another thing, though. There could be a day where we're not here. They need to have this set up where it just automatically works.
Yeah, that's,
it is.
I know, but that's the other thing too. We got to start thinking whatever show we're not doing, Friday or Monday, Good Friday, we got to start locking in segments and getting those built.
I got you.
Okay, well, I was not planning on doing both.
That's what I mean.
Friday and Monday.
No, we have to have a best of show ready in the can. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
We don't have. We have some segments we've talked about.
I have a list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, you need to talk to him probably about whether we do 3 hours best of 4.
Gotcha.
Okay, because I think they could run 9 to 10, the 4-letter network.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know what the deal is, with Marty and Spots.
Yeah. It's true.
Hey, Lincoln, thank you very much for that. Great to hear. We don't get a lot of comments from our affiliates, so thank you very much, Lincoln.
Where is Lincoln?
Lincoln's in Lake City on Facebook that popped in.
Hey, Lincoln.
I get to see everybody.
Hey, Lincoln. Adam went to WrestleMania.
Jaguars fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a diehard. So worth it, Adam. I mean, the reviews on Twitter were 10 out of 10. People were going nuts about WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think Seth Everett on Twitter this morning looks like an old guy.
Bashing the Grammys?
Yeah, and he, put out a clip of Prince and Beyonce in 2004, But he kind of gave the impression like, this year's Grammys.
Well, I don't know if he even watched. It looked to me like he didn't watch and was able to pan something that I might be in the minority, but I love Billie Eilish. I think that young lady can just,
she's amazing.
Flat out sing. She killed it. She wore a Tyler Hawkins t-shirt doing it.
I saw that.
And so they had all of these tour managers introing their artists. And here are these people who are backstage people.
Right.
Up at the Grammys, killing their lines. I'm going, how nervous must you be? I was like, whoa.
Okay, I tuned into the Grammys twice. The first time was this like backstage person, I guess, presenting the award or talking.
Her hand was shaking.
Oh, her hand was shaking.
She was the one that was introducing Billie Eilish.
Yes, and then
her
I saw
hand was just, I mean, think about that. Philly, that's essentially not even you because you get some airtime. You're never on stage.
And to Steve in Florida, yes, and the Grammys were on CBS, and this is where the Final Four being on TBS probably really hurt the Grammys because you would have seen Grammys promos throughout the broadcast Saturday.
And Steve, they were good.
Hey, listen, Steve, I didn't know about the Grammys until a couple days ago that they were on this weekend. So
And I forgot until I was on Twitter.
I didn't know till yesterday.
Literally on Twitter, they had started. I miss Bruno Mars. I like Bruno Mars.
We were driving back from Vero, and I was trying to convince Julie that the games were on CBS or the Grammys are on CBS as opposed to ABC.
That freaking Duke Carolina game was so good. It's funny.
I just saw that, Adam. I just watched Stone. Did Stone Cold do it to McAfee too, though, right? He dropped both of them, right?
Yeah, Vince may be 76, but with the steroids, he's about 43.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah. And Adam, by the way, remember it's 5:20 Dallas time. Adam up an hour early for us.
There you go.
That is hardcore.
Ooh, touch pass Embiid. He had 44 points last night.
Yeah, well, the officials gave him about 15 more
15
than
of them,
he
yeah.
should have.
So do you have him winning MVP or someone else?
No.
I think he's probably going to get it.
On the fourth place team in the East?
I mean, the odds for what's his face in Denver, it's not.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. After the first weekend of April, it is opening day of baseball this week. It's the Masters this week. Curtis Strange likely to join us at some point this week. We were talking yesterday, kind of, trying to figure out schedules. He's working nonstop, ESPN and Westwood One. Nonstop.
Good for him.
I said, when did you sign up to work this hard? He goes, yeah, tell me about it. I don't think I realized everything I said yes to.
So getting him to say yes to us is a little more difficult than usual.
I have to send him our segment and break times. And literally, I think we're going to get him one day in which he's in between live ESPN hits, and we're going to get him on the show.
Fantastic.
So it's Masters week after all. Speaking of which, Tiger called himself a game time decision.
Right.
That's fantastic. But in all seriousness, apparently tomorrow and Wednesday, a lot of rain. There are a lot of people that believe about the only significant practice time that people are going to get is today. And that the forecast does not look good Tuesday and Wednesday to be able to get a whole lot of golf in.
Which does mean, though, guys could go low on Thursday.
Could be soft conditions.
If it's soft conditions, if it rains Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to be tough to make that course as difficult as they would like.
Right.
They may move a few Thursday. In fact, if that's the case, they may be some different Thursday pins than normal to protect the golf course a little bit.
Long off the tee, but darts around the greens.
Right.
Yes. Which usually doesn't bode well for the course.
And it's not like these guys don't hit it far enough in the air to not manipulate that golf course.
So apparently Tiger had a range session yesterday, and people were monitoring it.
Monitoring it? I've never seen shot-by-shot coverage of a range sesh before.
Work the whole bag is what I was able to understand.
Started with the wedges, went all the way to the driver. Are you effing kidding me?
If you're a golf writer and you're there, what else do you have to report on?
In the words of Van Pelt there when he said, the rest of you guys could play naked and no one would notice. I think he's right.
So, and Tiger's drives apparently were going between 280 and 310, which, I don't know nowadays if that's long enough, but it's going to have to be. Normally, hard course, the ball would roll out. It would be, plenty long enough. But
he'll be fine.
I think so, too.
He'll be fine.
If he's bunting it out there at 285, I still think he'll be okay. But who knows? Might have to hit a long iron every now and then.
By long iron, you mean 7.
No, I'm thinking he might actually hit a couple 5 irons from the fairway.
You're right. Into 13 and 15, you might be right.
11, which they say is going to play harder. Also, 11 was changed.
Well, 11 they moved back, right?
Well,
even further.
They also, I think, cleared out some of the trees on the right. All right, the drive is going to be a little different, but those that have played it think it's somehow going to play harder, which I find amazing because outside of number 5, I think 11 might be the hardest hole on the course.
Well, the thought was, if memory serves me right, they wanted little more shots from the right because they thought it would bring the water in play for the
Right.
second shot.
Right. Instead of everybody just aiming away from the water and trying to get up and down for the right of the green.
And I still want to see the new 5 because I've not been there since they moved what's the hardest green on the golf course and decided to move the tee back, 60, 70 yards.
Well, it's not an easy tee shot either.
No, but it was easier before, shorter iron into just a damn near impossible green.
So the Masters begins on Thursday. Major League Baseball's regular season begins on Thursday. Injuries, the biggest story in baseball. We'll get to that in the starting 5 coming up in a bit. But
Women's National Championship last night.
And something happened that had never happened before. UConn lost. 11 previous times Gino and the Huskies got to the final. They were 11-0. And as Gino said last night, in at least 10 of those, we were the better team. He goes, it was just a matter of us playing well. We were the better team. He said, last night, not the better team.
No, they were not. They, valiant effort just to try to make it a game at a couple different points because they were getting whooped early.
Well, it was very much, I thought, Kansas-Villanova.
100%.
South Carolina jumped all over them, got up 16. UConn cut it in half at the half. But then South Carolina jumped all over them again at the third quarter.
And they went with it. I did not. Did you watch any of their Manning cast?
No, which got great reviews, though.
Because apparently they were all drunk.
Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. Yes. Yes. Apparently they were at least tipsy. Yes.
And met with rave reviews from everybody that was covering the sport. And it was getting a lot of coverage last night. I mean, I'm on Twitter and I follow more sports people and entertainment people, but I'm watching some of these Grammy artists and there were some good performances. I'm going, nothing there. No, but they are talking about Sue Bird.
Well, it must have been good because just putting 2, Huskies on a national championship game, brings about, imagine if they did a Manning cast of sorts with 2 Duke players for the Duke Carolina game. There'd be a natural backlash of, where's the Tar Heel? So they must have been entertaining.
Yes.
Because
no doubt.
There were certain people that were watching it who already had some angst within them before they opened their mouths. But I think it's good. I think they need to do it. I think you're going to see it with more sports. I think the Bird Taurasi one, which got no promotion, no publicity, that I think you're going to see this alternate form of broadcasting. Like, don't be surprised if you see it in golf. Because a lot of early round golf in the majors is on ESPN Plus, if not ESPN. And I could see where they try to bring this to golf also.
Well, you could bring a lot of people in if you did that. I mean, there's a lot of people that play golf, the Steph Currys of the world that are, a lot of athletes who are avid golf fans, right? That would make and entertainers and we all play.
I mean, Timberlake hosted a tour event for a half dozen years, and Steph Curry actually played in a couple of Korn Ferry tour events. So you would think, there's 2. Right there, never mind, the crossover and how many athletes and musicians and what have you play golf.
Right. Never mind if you can get Bill Murray to do 5 minutes as a guest on one of these.
Right.
Hey, I'm all for it. And last night, I thought about switching, just never did because I started getting into the Grammys because the game was losing a little bit of luster when South Carolina's taking it to them.
We're also entering the final week and change of the NBA regular season. It is weird because usually hockey and basketball line up almost perfectly in terms of when their regular seasons end and when their playoffs begin. But because of the Olympic break, even though the NHL didn't send their players to the Olympics, they put the schedule together with the anticipation that they were going to. And so then all of a sudden when they didn't, they're like, man, what are we going to do with this 2.5 week lull? And so the NHL playoffs don't start until the first couple of days of May. But the NBA regular season here has got about a week, maybe a week and change left in it.
Heat down to 3 games, need to win 2 to be the 1 seed.
Yeah. It's a good week for them.
It really was.
The week-
Started with Boston, got a nice win last night against Toronto, and staring the 1 seed down.
Miller and Moulton. Good show lined up for you. Andy Pollin. As we head to our nation's capital, Daniel Snyder may be in more trouble than we ever could have imagined. Coming up next hour. And Josh Pastner, the Georgia Tech coach, will break down the national championship game in our 8 o'clock hour. The starting five is next. Thanks for listening. Miller and Moulton.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I just want to say one more thing about Duke UNC. If the Pistons end up with the number 1 overall pick and take Paolo Banchero, I don't see how they're not a playoff team. Because he's 6'10", 250, and just gets buckets. Like he's been in the NBA for 7 years. I don't know. He's my number 1 overall pick.
Anything's possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh my God. She's selling t-shirts for $55. Who does she think she is?
Nike?
I was going to get me a Anything's Possible t-shirt, but
Anything,
I'd rather have dinner.
anything's possible. So the 2015 Final Four that did the highest number since whatever. Try to guess how many NBA players.
Well, remember it. I'm just saying that the one semifinal on TBS. Okay, because that's the other thing. Most of them are on CBS, so it's not the highest rated. It's just a TBS
gotcha.
semi to a TBS semi.
Gotcha. Try to guess how many future NBA players played in that Final Four.
Well, Wisconsin at 3.
But
And Kentucky had 5 starting and 10 on the bench.
And then Wisconsin lost to Duke. Okay. I'm guessing 12.
Mark?
What, NBA players in
the entire Final Four that year? Try to guess.
Oh, God. 15.
25.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. By the way, KW, I'm with you. Mystery Science Theater 3000 was great.
So, Paul, you didn't think about going over somewhere? And so, Paul, are you not going to watch Thursday night? And I'm not criticizing at all. I'm asking. I'm curious. So that means you don't watch Monday Night Football. You're not going to watch Thursday Night Football.
For the record, we got a text this morning that says, hey, finally heard a promo for you guys on Sheeman and Shepherd, but not listening to them as much. You're better and give me my fill.
Huh. Wow.
Right.
Must have been a mistake. No, but Paul, I just don't know. You go over a friend's house or
10 seconds. It hailed in Miami yesterday, and no one knows how to act.
Wow, it was huge hail, too.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks for being with us. The Florida Sports Network. You said it hailed in Miami yesterday?
Yes. Like ping pong size hail. Ping pong ball size hail.
Wow.
Yeah.
They must have thought it was the end of the world.
That they did. Yes.
I would.
No, I'm not mocking at all. I'm just
a golf ball falling out of the sky that's ice would scare the bejibbers out of me.
Well, one, I'd be like, what the heck's going on? But a whole sky full.
No one's yelling for.
So is this what a Hitchcock movie was like?
My friend sent me a video of him in his backyard just throwing punches at the air.
Did he say it hurt when it hit him?
Oh, yeah. He was like, ow, ow.
Okay.
God.
All right.
Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
We'll start with the women's national championship games. South Carolina dominated UConn, won their second championship. 64-49 was the final. First time UConn had ever lost in the title game. They had been 11-0 previously. Destiny Henderson, the pride of Fort Myers High School in Fort Myers, Florida, 26 points, taking over the title game. Not named most outstanding player, however. Player of the year, Boston, who had a terrific tournament. She had 34 points and 34 rebounds in the 2 games. All right, they gave her the MOP.
Well, and in that first quarter when they were just dominating the offensive glass is where the game was completely won by South Carolina.
One other women's basketball note, UCF hired the longtime top assistant for Kim Mulkey. She got passed over for the Baylor job, then followed Mulkey to LSU. And forgive me if I mispronounce her first name. It's Sytia. Okay, Sytia Messer, hired by UCF as head coach, being universally praised in the industry, saying this is somebody who's ready, and even though it's her first head gig, do not be surprised if she does big things at UCF. So that happened late yesterday as well. The men's national championship is tonight. TBS. A reminder, TBS.
That's not very funny. That's very true.
9:20 or thereabouts tip. One shining moment at around midnight if you're into that sort of thing. Kansas is a 4-point favorite over North Carolina. It's a 1 seed against an 8 seed.
I've literally picked against North Carolina in every game in this tournament.
Come on, you didn't take St. Peter's.
Okay, I've picked against North Carolina in every game but one in this tournament.
But that's because you were picking with your heart and you don't like them.
No, I don't. No.
And the country singer gets the last laugh, although I'm hearing reports of he's going to do a free concert.
Better. He's a bum.
Eric Church, right?
Bum.
Well, his team won. They're playing tonight. Kansas, a 4-point favorite. Remember,
go Kansas.
This would be Bill Self's second championship. It was an interesting stat of the 4 teams that were in the Final Four. Kansas last won it in 2008. Since then, the other 3 schools, Duke, Carolina, and Villanova, had all won 2. And Kansas, despite all the winning that Bill Self has done, looking for just their 3rd national championship in the last 60 years. Danny and the Miracles in 88. And then Mario Chalmers with the shot to force overtime, and they beat Memphis in 08. I mean, that's it. You got to go back.
They should have never won that game.
No.
Never.
No. So I do believe some good karma for Kansas tonight. It was 34 years ago tonight, Danny and the Miracles beat Oklahoma. I'm just saying.
With the Carolina injury, the kid with his ankle there, I don't know how the line stayed at 4. I don't know how the Kansas Nova line didn't move.
It only moved like a half a point.
Right.
I'm with you.
I'd lay the points all night tonight.
Now, I will say, while it was 34 years ago tonight that Danny and the Miracles in Kansas won the national championship, it was also 17 years ago tonight that Roy Williams won his first national title, and he did so at Carolina when they beat Illinois. One other coaching note. Thad Matta is back in men's college basketball. He returns. He hadn't coached in 5 years. And he's a Butler alum. His wife went to Butler. Their kids going to Butler. In fact, one's there now. They live like a few blocks away from the university, and they talked him into coming back.
Can't be any worse than it was this past year for Butler. Wow.
He's only 54 years old, Thad Matta, but been away for 5 years. And he left. His last 2 years at Ohio State did not go well, and he had major health problems. But he says he's ready to go, which was interesting because 3 days ago, when there were rumors about Thad Matta and Xavier, the word was that he wasn't all that excited about returning to coaching.
Maybe just not at Xavier.
Maybe they put enough money in front of him. NBA, the Heat went north of the border and beat the Raptors 114-109. They are 2 up for the 1 seed with just 3 to play. They're 2 up over Boston, who beat Washington by 42 at home. By the way, Milwaukee's 2.5 back because they lost at home to Dallas, 118-112. The Mavs, a game back of the Warriors for the 3 seed in the West. Golden State beat Sacramento by 19 last night. 76ers went on the road. They beat Cleveland 112-108. They're tied with Milwaukee for the 3 seed. The Knicks beat Orlando 118-88. The significance there is the Magic are tied with the Rockets for the worst record in the NBA. Rockets lost at home to the T-Wolves, who seem as if they're going to be in the play-in as the 7 seed. Minnesota beat Houston by 7. San Antonio, Mark, seems all but locked in the play-in at the Lakers' expense. The Spurs have won 6 of 7. They beat Portland by 21. They're 2 up on the Lakers with 4 to play because the Lakers have lost 6 in a row. Denver beat them by 11 last night. Denver a half a game up on Utah for the 5 seed.
No idea what the 4-letter network's going to do without the Lakers in the playoffs, David. It will be tragic today on most of these stations starting at around 10:01.
Mark, I can give you a preview as to how I think it's going to go. We'll have NBA playoff talk coming up, but first, where do the Lakers go from here? Should Frank Vogel be fired? Should they trade LeBron? What should the Lakers do? We've got our roundtable in to discuss. Clippers beat the Pelicans. LA looks as if they're going to be the 8 seed. It's not going to be easy. One gamer with Minnesota. Meanwhile, New Orleans will have a one gamer with San Antonio. Hockey. Did you hear what happened Saturday night? Before I get to what happened in the league yesterday, the Flyers sat out Keith Yandel.
Yes.
A healthy scratch Saturday night, ending his consecutive game streak at 989. There's about 15 games left in the season. And they basically said, listen, we got to look at some young guys. We got to do what's in the best interest of the organization.
11 games away from 1,000. Come on, man.
Right.
But I will say, Quenneville a couple years ago thought long and hard about sitting Yandel when he was head coach of the Panthers. I mean, Yandel's 35.
In fact, he was going to sit him, and basically the captain of the team and a
Yes.
few of the players came in and said, no, you're not doing this.
Because you kind of get an idea in the morning skate as to what the coach is thinking in terms of who's going to play and who's not. And, yeah, there was a mini revolt amongst the Panthers in which they said to Quenneville, you can't do this. So the Flyers got him, kept him in. He set the all-time record, but they sat him Saturday night. The streak ends at 989. Speaking of the Panthers, they beat Buffalo 5-3. They officially clinch a playoff spot, but they're 4 points up to be the 1 seed in the East, and they have a 9-point lead in their division, which is pretty impressive. The Flyers beat the Rangers in a shootout 4-3. Rangers are 2 up on Pittsburgh to host that first-round series. Minnesota 5-1 over Washington. Believe it or not, the Caps better not look too far over their shoulders. The Islanders are hot. They've won 4 in a row. Washington's hold on the last playoff spot's just 11 points over the Islanders. It's a little closer than you may think. Minnesota's in second place in their division. Edmonton 6-1 over Anaheim. They moved into third in the Pacific. Seattle beat Dallas 4-1. That's a painful loss for the Stars in their chase for the playoffs. Vegas with a win in Vancouver in overtime. As of right now, they hold the last playoff spot out west, but everyone chasing them has games in hand. The Islanders, Ottawa, and Arizona were also victorious. NASCAR, Denny Hamlin wins at Richmond. Shorter track, a bit of a rebirth for the older driver, Mark. Hamlin first, Harvick second, Martin Truex fourth, Kyle Busch ninth.
A lot of strategy going on in the race.
Yes,
and,
lot of strategy.
Running down guys that didn't have tires. It was an interesting race. I watched the last 70, 80 laps.
I was fascinated by it, in which it was all strategy
right.
and tires. And Denny Hamlin, who was in 22nd in the points entering yesterday, picks up his first win of the year. Ross Chastain, by the way, finished 19th, had a really good car, got caught on the wrong side of the whole pitting tires thing. Golf. Tiger, as we mentioned earlier, says he's a game time decision. And the Masters has said, hey, he's got until tee time on Thursday.
Show up for your tee time.
So, we'd prefer to know a little bit before that because, then maybe we'd move some guys around. But Tiger at the course and expected to play a practice round today. Rain expected Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday morning when the Masters is supposed to get underway. By the way, JJ Sprawn, all right, a winner on the tour. He's now in the Masters, so that makes 92 in the field. He won the Valero Texas Open by 2. He's 31 years old, quite the journey. What's interesting, though, Mark, is that he double bogeyed the first hole yesterday and still shot a 369 to win by 2. The last person to win on tour, double bogeying their first hole in the final round, Tiger Woods in the 2008 U.S. Open.
Well, there aren't a lot of doubles typically by guys that are winning in tour.
Or on the first page of the leaderboard, right, and then you recover. Very impressive. He had never won before.
To go out and do that and have the moxie to then shoot 5 under for 17 holes, that's really impressive.
Steve Sands asked him, hey, how'd you recover from the first hole double bogey? And he laughed. He said, I told myself it's better to double the first than double the last. Great attitude. Jennifer Kupcho won what used to be the Dinosaur, the Nabisco, and the A&A Inspiration. It's now known as the Chevron Championship. It's the last time, Mark, that they're holding it out in Rancho Mirage, California. There are very few courses on the LPGA Tour in which even the casual golf fan will see on television and recognize. This is one of them because the tournament's 50-plus years old. Kupcho, her first ever win, obviously her first major. She beat Jessica Korda by 3. It was Korda's best finish in a major, finishing second. It was also the last tournament for Judy Rankin in the booth. She said, I'm going into semi-retirement. I'm going to be the designated backup for Morgan Pressel. If there's an event she can't make for whatever reason, I'll scoot on in here. But Judy Rankin, a trailblazer, 38 years in the broadcast booth after a Hall of Fame playing career. And a very well done goodbye in which Curtis Strange was emotional talking about her. Tiger was very sentimental talking about her because people forget Judy went straight from her career to an on-course commentator, a woman in a man's world, and it was readily accepted. And quickly, baseball, the A's continue to break their team up. They trade lefty Sean Manaea to the Padres. Lance Lynn, the White Sox ace, he's going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season with a knee injury. And Jacob deGrom's out 2 months with a stress fracture in his right shoulder.
That was the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
And Scherzer's got a groin injury, so he may not even start opening day either. So,
well, at least the odds for the Mets opening day might be worth grabbing, David, because we've talked about how good they are the first baseball game of the season. The numbers are staggeringly good of what the Mets have done in like the last 35 or so years.
It's always nice when you spend $290 million and you're throwing your number 3 starter on opening day.
Miller and Moulton trying to be your number 3 starter right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10 that will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
DC, I have been watching attentively. Byron Buxton last year was putting up
There it
MVP
is. Look up.
numbers. What, Blue Moon?
To the bottom.
Lakers on the
There you go.
yeah, headline on the bottom
I was
line.
watching the Blue Moon commercial. I'm like, what am I missing here? Got it.
I knew you were, because when you looked up, you didn't need. I saw your eyes.
Yeah.
He's like, what's he got me looking at a Blue
Like
Moon?
the bottom of
commercial
the
for?
beer. What? It just looked dark. At DC, injuries are injuries. I mean, it's the same now with DeGrom. I mean, injuries are injuries. Even though this injury is not related to last year's shutdown, an injury is an injury.
And the more you get, seemingly the more you get.
But if Buxton could just stay healthy, though.
Yeah, but what part of it? I mean, he's played 7 years in the majors. He's played over 92 games. Once. We're beyond if. You have to, I mean, look at the contract he signed. It's almost all incentive based. It's almost all based on how much he plays. He could make $100 million, but he's got to play.
You're saying you've come to just expect it at this point.
Well,
yeah, I mean, obviously.
I mean, I'm stupid, but I'm not that dumb.
Right.
Now, I mean, some guys midway through their career, I mean, Phil Simms' first 6 years of his career, I mean, the irony is Phil was known for his toughness. Hell, he didn't finish his first 4 years in the league.
Yeah, wasn't one of his injuries that where he just slammed into a wall?
He slammed into the wall in spring training 2 weeks ago.
But he made a highlight play.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
And if you're the Twins, you're like, let it drop.
It's spring training.
I mean, I got to be honest. I don't even know if I'd play him in the field if I was the Twins in spring training. Might DH him.
He's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. For half a season, he's terrific.
We'll see.
Listen.
I mean, I've never felt any feeling towards the Twins like I have this year. I've been to 4 Twins spring training games, and I'll probably be at today's game.
Is it like Hard Knocks for you? Are you going to be a Lions fan this year? Now
No,
you have HBO
no.
and you're watching Winning Time?
No, but when the Raiders did Hard Knocks, I was just so
Every team that does Hard Knocks. Who's going to win the national title?
There you go. Good talk. How about this? Kansas -4, Carolina +4.
Oh, Kansas.
Did you think enough people would pick Carolina tonight?
Oh, I know, but
No?
I
Okay.
just spread wise, I don't know how many. I don't know
Gotcha.
if that detracts anybody
Okay. That's fine.
I could put 4 up there. Win and cover, win.
Nah, just do Kansas.
Who
North
is
Carolina.
cutting down the nets tonight?
Look at you. DC, I mean, first off, how many more, comments you're going to make about Buxton? Yeah, but it's self-explanatory. He's terrific when he can play.
I don't care, guys, because it's baseball.
10 seconds.
Yeah, just really quickly, DC, when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row, and no one else is commenting, it might be time to say I've lost this one.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton on this first Monday in April. Thanks so much for being with us. This is the Florida Sports Network, Andy Pollin will join us in a little more than 35 minutes' time. There was a story that came out very late last week, and it lingered into Saturday, in which Congress is investigating. Remember on Friday I said Congress is investigating some financial shenanigans of Daniel Snyder. Well, I mean, I think all of us just assumed it was, I don't know, he was supposed to give you, Mark, some money, and he withheld it from you. Who knows? Cooking the books. Well, he's alleged to be cooking the books so that his fellow 31 owners were not getting their share of the gate revenue that they're supposed to get.
What was he doing? Putting regular tickets down as suite tickets or something? I mean,
I don't know.
Keep suite revenue. They probably keep some of the club revenue. I mean, it's however convoluted it is.
But ticket revenue, apparently 40% of all ticket revenue. And you're right. I think suites are separate. But 40% of all ticket revenue is supposed to go to the other 31 owners. So that I don't know why they decided on that. I don't know why they just look around and go, why don't we all just keep our own revenue? I don't know. But everybody has to share.
Right.
40% of the gate. Jarrah puts 100,000 in. I mean, that's okay. 8 times a year, 10 times a year if you count preseason games. All right. Might be a decent little check. Khan might lift his head up and go, oh, wow, 6 figures, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So, but as we've talked about many times, and we'll get into it more with Andy Pollin, these guys protect each other.
They are the most important team in the NFL. The 31 owners, because obviously Green Bay, their situation, but the 31 owners is the strongest, most tightly knit team in all of sports. It really is. If you think about the protection of one another, how they've set each other up for success.
More exclusive, the NFL Ownership Club, Augusta.
NFL Ownership Club. It doesn't mean that you own an NFL franchise that you can get a membership at Augusta.
True.
But I like your chances.
And also, as we've talked about with Halls of Fame, there are certain wings of it. I mean, you can be a member at Augusta and be just a little more than a fly on the wall. You're like, yeah, we let him in. All right, nice enough guy and all,
He's been here family's been around a long time.
He's an 8, you could take him. But, and then there's being in which you're on the boards, you're in the meetings.
Right.
So Daniel Snyder, and he's been protected. I mean, Jarrah likes him for whatever reason.
He does.
Jarrah's kind of put his arm around him and said, don't worry, Danny boy, I'll take care of you. And they've,
And I think he calls him Danny boy.
I think it depends on how the 2 regular season games go. So, but let's face it, Mark. I mean, they're on your team until they're no longer on your team.
Well, they protect one another. They help one another make money.
Right.
And they share money.
Right.
I mean, this is like the mob here. When you start
Right.
yeah, funneling the cash to your own account without sharing with the bosses, do you know what happens?
They whack you.
Exactly.
Only they're not going to kill Daniel Snyder. If the allegations are true, he just won't be in the club anymore. You can bet on that. So we'll talk to Andy Pollin about this story. And also look ahead to they're the Commanders, right?
Boy, oh boy.
I have to make sure I get the Guardians and the Commanders right.
I don't-
Cleveland is the Guardians. Washington's the Commanders. I wish they were reversed, if for no other reason than the alliteration. Cleveland Commanders would have been CC. But it's Cleveland Guardians, Washington Commanders.
Do you know that Cleveland, I don't know how if they played a year, but I was going, somehow I saw they had the Cleveland Crusaders in the WHA.
I
Right.
thought they were the Barons.
There at some point there was a Cleveland Crusaders. Whether or not they played, I saw the shirts. I hated the logo, loved the name.
Well, didn't I do in like Today Was the Day When last week something about way back in the day they were the Cleveland Blues or Blue something? So,
What logo do you like better?
well, see, you got to remember, I'm 56 years old. I don't care. Honestly, I don't. The only thing I care about, and I'm going to sound like get off my lawn guy, and I am serious about this. The only thing I care about is that when your team appears on TV, in the first 3 seconds, I can go, oh, so-and-so's playing. If I can't identify the team, then to me, you're wearing the wrong uniforms.
And even with Oregon, who wears a different uniform for
Right.
every game, when they come on television, we all know who it is.
Same with Maryland, a lot of crazy uniforms with Under Armour or what have you. But for the longest time, you look at it and you go, oh, okay.
Because they've got that goofy helmet. I know who it is. But when Ohio State decides that they're going to wear some obscure color with those gorgeous uniforms.
Exactly. And that helmet. Are you serious? I scream at the TV every time. You have one of the 5 most iconic uniforms. You have such a brand. Okay. And Alabama has not changed. That should be what the Michigans and the Ohio States and the Notre Dames and the USCs of the world
The Penn
tell
States.
everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. Alabama wears red and with
Whoa.
white trim, and then they wear white with red trim. Right. And they're the best program going for 15 years. They seem to be doing just fine getting recruits, getting NIL money, selling tickets, the whole deal. Okay. I would tell every AD and marketing person, this, that, and the other thing, they come in. These are alternate uniforms. Yes, you wear them at home in a pajama party. We're not wearing them. But I'm a 56-year-old guy.
And me, all I want to know, and this is the play-by-play guy in me, when they turn around, can I read the number? Can I see the number on the back of their jersey and not have to go, is that an 8? What is that, a 3? And not because I'm getting old, because they put some crazy font. And when I'm in a broadcast booth, I can't see it. That's my beef. And that's more of a hockey thing because they started getting some weird numbers in that sport. And it's like, did anybody take a player on the ice and go upstairs and see if you could actually identify who the player is?
Now, if we're going to go off on this tangent, Felipe, here's a tangent I'll go with. Baseball has 81 home games. You want to designate a night of the week, because teams now try to come up with what? You got home uniforms, away uniforms, and then alternate jerseys. Hockey does this, I know, so that everybody's got to have at least 3 uniforms. If you want to come up with one day a week when you wear a home game, these are the uniforms we're going to wear. I grew up a Mets fan. The Mets for a while wore black home uniforms. I never liked them. Apparently some people did. The guy paid $2.5 billion for the Mets. He liked them. He said, I want to bring them back. Well, then they're coming back. I mean, he bought the team. But apparently it's like either Friday or Saturday night. That's it. It's one night a week. It's like, listen, when you come to our game, we're going to be in these uniforms. Oh, okay, I guess.
See, I always think of Mike Piazza when I see those black uniforms.
Well, there you go. And so if it works for you, that's great. And by the way, that would be a reason to do it right there. You're 21 years old. I mean, if I'm Steve Cohen and I own the Mets, I don't give a damn about Miller and Moulton.
Nope.
Combined, they're 108 years old.
Not to mention, we're not buying stuff for the most part.
Right. Even though you don't have any money to buy them, and we do, but I'm interested in you. So,
Well, now what Major League Baseball is doing is that each team has a city jersey because they're with Nike now. You don't like all that.
just listen. Nike's done a lot of great things. I would take them out of the uniform business. And once Nike gets involved, I think things go to hell in a handbasket.
No,
that's me.
You and Seth feel the same way. I don't know what the hate is. I think it's really cool.
Well, and they're marketing for you, though. I will say that.
And it's working.
Okay, then there you go.
Each city uniform is...
I don't buy them. I don't wear them. You buy them, you wear them. They're marketing to you, and it's working.
I mean, it really and truly, you're perfect for this because you're 21 years old.
You too like Prince. The Minnesota Timberwolves have Prince Purple Rain jerseys. You're going to tell me you don't like those?
No.
Oh, they're so cool.
I love the concept.
It's a great concept.
I have to see the jersey. Okay, remember, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I haven't seen, outside of highlights on SportsCenter, I haven't seen much of them lately.
Right.
But yeah, I like the concept. Obviously, Prince, Minneapolis. Yeah, fine. Crowded sports landscape in the Twin Cities there. If I'm the T-Wolves, I would do things like that. If I were the Twins or the Vikings, I'd never touch my uniform, ever, for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah, the NBA is the league to do that kind of stuff.
They've got 41 home games.
And they skew younger.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but
we did.
Yeah, well,
we're back.
What's our poll question?
Who's cutting down the nets tonight, man?
Don't say it like you're mad at me because I asked.
No, it's pretty simple. National championship game. Who's cutting down the nets? Kansas or North Carolina?
I mean, it is a 1-against-8 mark. I mean, it is funny. There's a Wake Forest fan that I follow. And we had him on the show last Monday, Josh Graham. And he follows Wake Forest pretty closely. And Wake Forest missed the tournament this year. One of the reasons they missed the tournament was they didn't have many, if any, quote-unquote, quad one wins. Well, when they beat North Carolina in early February and beat them by 22, it did not count as a quad one win. And here's Carolina less than 2 months later playing for the national title. Got Wake Forest people going, are we going to get credit for this win now? Huh?
So who do you like, UNC or Kansas tonight? And I'm sure we're going to get a lot more Kansas than UNC. But, hey, the Eric Church supporters out there might be all over the Tar Heels tonight. Who knows?
Couple of blue bloods, though, to wrap up what has been an entertaining tournament. You have to agree with that.
100%.
I mean, St. Peter's to the Elite Eight, 4 blue bloods in the Final Four.
In these parts, Miami to Elite Eight for the first time in their program history.
So the tournament has delivered. That is for sure. Kansas, North Carolina, the Roy Williams Bowl is tonight. TBS, 9:20.
I'm going to need a nap today, David.
Yes. Yes, we will. Miller and Moulton. Andy Pollin in about 25 minutes' time right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf. where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal game. Luka Doncic. That's all I have to say. That's my analysis. Luka Doncic. I mean, what? Larry Bird mixed with James Harden mixed with LeBron James.
Stop it. I mean, these guys that you talk about with comparing the greatest players of all time, let them win a playoff series or two, win a championship, do something that
He's
in
22.
I got you. As David has said, he's chased off every good player he's ever had play with him.
And coaches as well.
Yeah.
But
The coaches doesn't bother me because Magic and Michael ran off coaches.
yeah, but him and Jason Kidd have come up with a system where, one, they're finally playing defense, and two, they can just light it up from the three-point line.
Yeah, but Klecko, see, to me, this is the interesting part. Who are you catering to? Because for as much as, Miller, Moulton, Klecko, and people of our generation are, however it is you want to characterize it, we're also the ones that are buying the tickets. We're the alums who are sending in money. We're paying the seat licensing fees and we're actually the kid that you're trying to cater to, who, by the way, now can transfer on a dime. And we don't transfer. The only thing we transfer is money from our account to theirs.
But I will say, I don't think anybody quits giving money because of an alternate uniform.
No, I understand that. But
I just don't know, because there's a gap between us and him that, the Cassius world. He's 40 now. He loved all that stuff. Or approaching 40.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and John was all into that stuff.
Right.
So he's approaching 40. So that's the next basis of money in alumni too. So I don't know the answer. I mean, I look at Georgia as doing the alternates perfect, because they can wear the blacks, they can wear the reds, they can mix them up, and they all look good.
These are the Purple Rain jerseys.
Those are terrible.
Those are not good uniforms. They're really
I
not.
almost wore a basketball uniform to work today.
No, you didn't.
I am so pissed. I forgot I was going to.
You own basketball
Why
jerseys?
can't you wear one tomorrow?
I own one.
Ooh. Is it gonna be a surprise, or are you gonna tell me?
The Washington Generals. The team that played against
the
the
Globetrotters? You're kidding.
No.
You never returned it.
Hell no. They sent it to us for something, and that never went back.
Yep.
The Washington.
And now they don't exist anymore.
That's right. I saw that. That was a couple years ago.
That is a collector's items, kids.
Yeah.
Almost wore it over a t-shirt today just to see what you would do when I walked in a basketball jersey.
You're wearing the antagonizing team out here.
Klecko, wasn't there a shamrock on the side of the Notre Dame helmet?
For the Shamrock series, or when they went and played in
London or Dublin or whatever.
Yeah.
But see, and I don't mean to be biased because most people agree, these are city uniforms done right.
I
Can't
can't.
really see it.
Who is it?
Is that Miami in their powder blue?
Yes,
The Heat?
these
They're-
are gorgeous.
They're very Miami.
My wife doesn't
Very
like 'em,
Miami.
for the record.
Well, then she doesn't like Miami.
Okay. She likes the Heat.
Oh, they're
Didn't like the
beautiful.
uni.
I love them.
I've
so
had a
much.
lot of Heat on this year. She's had to watch way more Heat than ever before.
Yes.
I will say it was funny. Wear it without it. Go McAfee. Thanks, Hobbs. Watching Orlando sports Saturday morning because the weather. I wanted to watch the weather because it was supposed to dump. And
10
the
seconds.
sports guy gets on. He goes, "Well, the only good news is there's only 3 left," and they start going to Magic highlights.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. Who's cutting down the nets tonight? That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, FL Sports Network on Twitter. And if you don't follow the Florida Sports Network, please do. We'd appreciate it. Just like if you don't follow us, watch us, subscribe to us.
There we go. Get them all in.
The Miller and Moulton Show, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. But I vote Kansas. I think Kansas wins. I think they cover. I think you feel the same way, which means congratulations to North Carolina, your 2022 NCAA champions. Because we joked amongst ourselves. We both had Duke and Kansas winning. And then we're like, well, that'll never happen.
I don't know last night how many people watched the women's national championship. I know the numbers for the tournament have been outstanding compared to years past. But Dawn Staley, the head coach for South Carolina last night. Did you catch her outfit? Her jacket, her varsity jacket she had on?
Yeah.
Did you see the price tag of it?
No.
That's a Louis Vuitton jacket, for the record. That jacket, the patch varsity jacket by Louis Vuitton. You want to take a guess? Did you watch any of the women's game last night, Felipe?
I did, and
Okay,
I'd
so-
like to take a guess on how much that jacket
and
is.
you both saw her wear what look like a varsity jacket.
Yes.
Huh.
You want to take? We're going to let him go first.
Okay.
Please?
No.
No.
You first. You first.
You first. A Louis Vuitton patch varsity jacket. Do you want to take a stab at what that costs? First off, when you saw the jacket, what did you think a jacket like that was worth?
I didn't think anything special of it, to
Right.
be honest with you. I just looked
Thought
at it.
she
I
was
went,
wearing
"Oh."
like her high school varsity
I
jacket.
looked at it. I thought, oh, that's neat. All right, that's cool.
All right, so take a stab at what it costs.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, probably got that in the bookstore and what have you.
Uh-huh. She got it at a store or online.
Right. So, yeah, I was literally going to guess and something lower. And now because you're making a big deal of it, and I'll just say for, what, and giggles, I'll go $1,200.
Would you care to
1,500.
Okay. She also wore stellar sneaker boots last night. Those boots cost $1,200 that she wore.
Boots.
The jack and they're like low. They're high top tennis shoes is what they are. They're called a sneaker boot. It's a high top tennis shoe.
Also Louis V.
Yeah, those cost $1,200. The jacket cost $48.50, and not $48.50.
$48.50.
Yeah, nearly 5 G's. So you know what?
So the jacket.
Hold my beer.
I'll tell you what. I'm glad because apparently they're going to be the last coaches to get dressed up then.
I mean, it was a boss move.
Wow.
Well, I've had a running 3-year series of texts with Nikki Pollin. First, when she was the head coach of the Atlanta Dream in the WNBA, and now that she's the women's head coach at Baylor, in which I'm like, do you have a shoe deal? All right. And she no. And because she really goes all out with the shoes. And I'm like, you got to get a shoe deal. And she goes, tell me about it. Can't believe I can't get one.
Have you ever walked into one of those stores, like an Yves Saint Laurent store
A Louis Vuitton
or a
store?
Louis V store?
Yes.
Plain white T-shirt, $500.
Right.
I don't even want to get into it.
No, by the way, no.
Yeah, I have made a walk down Worth Avenue in Palm Beach before, where you have the Vuitton and the Ferragamo, and you know, it's one after another. It's
unreal.
Well, it's just funny money, because what's scary is that you walk in there and you look at something and you see you see, oh, that's a cool pair of shoes. Oh, they're $800.
Oh,
and then you keep walking. But what is going on in these stores is there are people who are consumers.
Yes,
right.
You're laughing, but then you're looking around, and then people are just going about their day buying rubber slippers that are $450.
Yeah, see, you got to remember, for the first 15 years that I lived in Southwest Florida, and I lived in, and still do, in Fort Myers, and Naples is obviously the the Muffy and Buffy part of Southwest Florida, more so than Fort Myers is, even though there are very well-to-do sections in Lee County. And so I joked for the first 15 of my 20 plus years in the 239 that I used to get the shakes when I was driving in the car whenever I crossed the line into Collier County. So when we would do the show live at the then Shark Shootout, and that, I was nervous just because I was in Naples.
More so at the pressers than at the Shark Shootout, because the pressers were in the Ritz, and we got to go down, then you're parking at the Ritz. And, we're coming up in two jalopies trying to get as far away from valet parking as humanly possible.
The only thing that settled me down, Felipe, and I'm not kidding, and I had, covered it for 15 years, and we're about to sit down and do our interview with Greg Norman, and I'm not nervous talking to Greg at all, but I was just nervous walking into the country club. They had these huge cookies. That's what calmed me down.
They were manhole covers.
They were.
I mean, they were chocolate chip cookies the size of manhole covers.
And I grabbed two. Okay, which got people to turn their eyes. And I looked right at the one guy and said, hey, you let the poor white trash in, this is what you get. Okay. And I went downstairs when we sat up for the interview, and even Norman just kind of looked, and I said, these calm me down. All right. And now I got the second one to give it to Mark, but still, just have them near me. It's like, okay, comfort food. I'm in Naples. I'll be okay. So that's Naples. Right. Now you can go to places on Fifth Avenue in Naples and get the same sticker shock and all that. But I expect that they have an alarm system in stores like this. This is in my world. And which, if someone like me walks into the store, if I were to press the door or turn the knob on the door, I expect, and the alarms to just go off.
Julia Roberts and Pretty Woman, for crying out loud?
Pretty much. I mean,
what are you, a hooker on Rodeo Drive trying to buy an outfit for the love of God? That's something.
Yes. And I understand they work on commission, but they're not going to be making anything from me. Yes.
But yeah, $5,000 jacket and $1,200 shoes.
Nice.
Take that.
And meanwhile, and I don't even think Gino had a tie on last night.
And all these stores, they always have the guy in the front with the suit and tie, basically wearing a tuxedo. I walked in with a Luka Doncic jersey on, and he's looking at me like,
right. See, I don't even know. I'm walking around with a jersey on. I can't believe they let you in. I'm surprised he didn't.
Oh no! Everyone in the store,
stop you.
Their necks cracked looking at me.
But they don't know.
Well,
they don't know.
That's in Florida. You can be standing next to a billionaire on the beach, and they're dressed in the same.
Oh no!
Shorts and shirts and flip flops as you.
Because this is in the design district in Miami. That same day, I saw a celebrity, girls with their phones,
and probably that celebrity might have had a Luka Doncic jersey on. I mean, it wouldn't have been that out of the ordinary,
right?
Well, it's impressive. All right. I mean, South Carolina was impressive to begin with. And I will say this, mentioning Dawn Staley, she did not win Coach of the Year. This happens all the time in sports. I'm actually glad it happened in women's sports too. We almost always give Coach of the Years. And I know we don't care about awards like we used to, but we almost always give Coach of the Year awards to coaches who take pretty good teams and make them very good. And we very rarely give Coach of the Year awards to, that was the number one team of the country from the beginning of the season to the end. Every week they were number one in the poll, the whole season. She was not just coach of that team, she was GM. She's responsible for all those players and did not win coach of the year. And they do that in men's sports too. I'm glad it happened to Dawn Staley. At least it's not just a guy thing. Like, how many times did Riley win coach of the year his whole career? I think once. I think Pat Riley won one coach of the year. I don't know if Phil Jackson ever won coach of the year.
I think you're right about Riley winning one, and there's no way Jackson never won.
I don't think he won more than once.
I'll get back to you on that.
Research department hard at work.
Oh, yeah. So, just a little sidebar there.
All right.
It's a thing of mine. It's like the alarm going off
It's
at the Louis Vuitton store in Naples.
your quirks have quirks.
Well, I resemble that remark, Mark. Andy Pollin, 6:30 ESPN in D.C. to join us to talk about, so just how much trouble is Daniel Snyder in this time? Josh Pastner in an hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, the Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
When he won it with the Heat, that was 06, obviously.
It was 97.
Oh, no, 97. That's right.
Right.
Because he had just gotten there.
For the record, ladies and gentlemen, Riley won it 3 times. Once with the Lakers, once with the Knicks, once with the Heat. Phil Jackson won it just once.
That's insane. Hell, the year after they won 72 games, they won 69 games, I think. God, the Bulls were stupid good. Was it like going into every season, you guys were like, okay, the Bulls are going to win it this year? Is that how you felt?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Did we feel it with Michael? Did we just think the Bulls were going to win it every year?
Yes.
Like preseason. Oh,
Yeah.
the Bulls are winning it this year.
Once they got there.
Once they won it.
Once they won
it,
91.
91, yeah.
When they broke through.
I was just saying how they were stupid good. I mean, they were a dynasty.
In the midst of one dynasty after another.
Mm-hmm.
Because you had, Boston and LA both had dynasties. Lakers was better. The Pistons then went back to back.
Then you got the Bulls. Then you got the Lakers again.
Right.
Then you got the Spurs.
Oh, and in between, Houston goes back to back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was.
Listen, I thought they were winning it when Michael came back with like 3 weeks ago in the season.
in
In
95.
95. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought they were winning it.
Can't believe Orlando beat them, though. in that conference finals. That was the last time Michael lost a playoff series.
Yep.
In 1995.
And most of us don't even consider it a loss because he,
Right.
he'd been playing baseball for over a year.
What I love about that series is how mid-series he changed his number back to 23 from 45 because Shaq was talking shit.
No, I think it was Horace Grant.
Or Horace Grant was talking
Horace
shit.
Grant said, that's not 23 out there. That's 45.
Yeah. And then he was like, oh, okay. Switches to 23, scores like 40 or something like that.
God, it was so nice to see those teams hit shots.
Yep.
God, it was such beautiful basketball to watch.
That run at the end where there were back-to-back threes, like UNC hit one and then Duke answered.
Listen, God almighty, the run Nova made at Kansas. Kansas was shooting over 50% during the first 14 minutes of the second half, and Nova chopped the lead from 11 to 6. I mean, Nova hit 6 of 7 threes to start the second half. We're playing great basketball.
I was screaming how good those games were.
Not only that, both teams played man, so the court had spacing. How about this? You want to clean up college basketball? Eliminate zone defense. How about that for a radical idea?
Just man-to-man, mano-y-mano.
It would radically change the sport.
Well, for your contact thing especially.
And Jim Boeheim would have to retire.
All for that.
Why? Because he loves the zone.
That's all he can play.
Andy Pollin here.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, there's a buddy of mine who's got 2 spring training tickets for the Red Sox tomorrow. Do you want them? Free.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah.
Class.
Yeah.
You can get your work done.
Yeah.
You can get our work done.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll need your email then at some point. Say it into the microphone.
He's on hold. We're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Josh Pastner, Georgia Tech men's basketball coach. He'll join us 1 hour from now to break down Kansas and North Carolina, which is the focus of our poll question. Simply, who cuts down the nets tonight? First national title game appearance for Kansas in 10 years. They're a 4-point favorite. Andy Pollin's kind enough to join us, 6:30 ESPN in our nation's capital. You can follow Andy on Twitter at Andy Pollin1. That's Andy Pollin with 2 L's, 1. Andy, it's David and Mark. Good morning. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Well, we're fine. By the way, answer our poll question if you would. Who cuts down the nets tonight?
Well, I think it's. I heard Jay Billis talking about this. Let the Hatfields and McCoys battle it out late, and Kansas can just sit back and rest. And so I think the fact that they're rested, they were number 1 seed, they played as well as anybody in the tournament. I would think they would beat North Carolina, and there's got to be a feeling on the part of North Carolina that they've already won. They vanquished their number 1 rival. They beat them in a great game. If they can summon enough to come back tonight and play another one, hats off to them, but I think Kansas will win.
Well, I've picked against UNC in every game except for the St. Peter's game, so I'll just keep up with that same thing and lose like I do with every one of these. But Andy, news broke late Friday of the possibility of Daniel Snyder withholding some money from the other owners. It certainly seems that for the first time throughout all of the problems that Snyder has, that the other owners have, I don't know if abandoned him is the right word, but he's on his own island for the first time. Does that seem safe to say?
I mean, how they protect him on this, if in fact this is true, there are a lot of skeletons and closets around the NFL, and trying to force Dan Snyder out, given his history of vengeful suing, may not be as easy as some think. I mean, there's been a lot of talk here in the last 48 hours since this story broke in town of, oh, good, maybe this will get him. Well, not necessarily. And the question is, will the other owners get together and say, oh boy, this is really bad. He's been stealing from us and we need to force him out. I think we're a long way from that.
Andy, is the source Congress? I mean, where is this information coming from?
Well, one congressman or one congressional source said something to the effect it's a disgruntled former employee. And the knee-jerk reaction is, well, Bruce Allen, who was fired as team president at the end of the 2019 season. But this is a Democratic congressional investigation. He is a dyed-in-the-wool Republican. I doubt he would be dealing with Congress. So there's a buffet of people to choose from who are disgruntled former employees. And so it could point in any direction. One of the popular choices might be Brian LaFamina, who was brought in here, I believe, 2018 to provide transparency and try and build back up the fan base, which has pretty much abandoned the team. And he was out in 8 months. So could be him, could be any number of people. But this, again, is a leak. This is not something that's going to be investigated by Congress. This is just information that comes by way of the congressional and it isn't even an investigation yet, the congressional roundtable that took place with Tiffany Johnston, a former employee who alleged that Dan Snyder put his hand on her knee at a business dinner and then tried to push her towards his limousine before he was encouraged not to. So this is not something that Congress is going to investigate, whether or not Dan Snyder skimmed money from his other owners.
All right. You said the fan base has pretty much abandoned them, but is that a Snyder thing or is that just a poor play thing? Because we all know, as much as they may hate an owner, a team starts winning, they all come back, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the record hasn't helped, but the fact that he has run things as poorly as he has, and, much of the blame points to him, and then the fact that, he doesn't even talk to the fan base. He's given, since becoming owner in 1999, maybe a dozen interviews total. So there isn't any kind of connection. I don't know what it's like in Dallas, but at least, Jerry Jones has built a beautiful new stadium. He engages with the media, engages with the fans. At least there is some sort of warmth between owner and fan base. Here, it's pure hatred.
He's Andy Pollin, 630 ESPN in our nation's capital, and he's kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. Andy, do you think that this story, if true, has legs? Because as you've pointed out, you don't think this is something that Congress is going to get involved in, even if, let's just say, this information somehow, some way is coming out by way of this inquiry. But do you think this is something that the league would actually investigate one of their own over?
Well, again, there would have to be support from the other owners to do it. Roger Goodell is an employee of the 32 owners. And if there is significant support to investigate and determine, in fact, if Dan Snyder was stealing from them, yes. But if you do the math on this, it may not be a lot of money. In the story that was in Front Office Sports, it was reported that the Green Bay Packers ticket revenue is $77 million. They're selling out the place. If you've seen FedEx Field in recent years, it's half full, maybe less, depending on the opponent. And so their ticket revenue's got to be significantly less than 77 million. Then you're talking about 40% going out to the rest of the league, minus handling fees, et cetera, et cetera. By the time you get to the final number, it could be $3, $4, $5 million tops. And, you know, is that something that you would have the other owners get together and vote him out, risking vengeful suing that would probably ensue from that?
All right, let's go to the team. Draft coming up a few weeks away. It seems that this is a team that won 7 games, so there are lots of needs. What is the most important need in your estimation come draft day?
Probably secondary help, maybe linebacker. They could obviously use another wide receiver. That Terry McLaurin has become a star. Curtis Samuel was hurt most of last year. Maybe he can come back and have a bigger year. But you know, they have various needs, and you know, we don't know what kind of year Chase Young is going to come back from off of his knee surgery. They have expiring contracts coming up for others on the defensive line. They had to get rid of Matt Ioannidis for salary cap reasons after they got Carson Wentz. So, you know, there are a variety of positions that they are of need, and you don't necessarily look at the draft to fill an immediate hole. You look at it as filling holes, you know, in the next couple of years as they have to make decisions about veteran players. So I don't know. I've seen all the mock drafts. You know, going into free agency, the thought was, well, maybe they'll take a quarterback, and Malik Willis seemed to be the popular choice. But I think at 11, they will not take. In fact, Ron Rivera pretty much said that they won't be taking a quarterback at 11. They will take a quarterback somewhere further down the line.
Andy, do you think that Washington made the right play this offseason at that position? I know many of us from afar saw what it took to get Matt Ryan away from the Falcons and went, well, damn, I think I would have done that deal instead of the Wentz deal. You know, now that most of the quarterback carousel has ended, is the feeling that Washington did okay or that they screwed this up?
Well, they did all they could. Matt Ryan wasn't coming here. Matt Ryan had no trade in his contract, and so he wasn't going to agree to come here. Carson Wentz was going to be released by the Colts if they couldn't make a deal for him. If he was released by the Colts, he wasn't going to come here. This is not a destination for anybody, and so they looked at a guy who was available for 2 draft picks. One of them could become a 2 if Wentz plays a lot, but it's 2/3 right now. And the big thing with him is after this year, he's not guaranteed any money. They have to pay him $28 million this year, but the last 2 years of his contract are not guaranteed. So did they do well? You could debate that. They got somebody who has played at a high level, and the hope is they can get him back to a high level. And if he isn't, then they can discard him without taking a huge salary cap hit.
Andy Pollin, 630 ESPN in our nation's capital. Follow Andy on Twitter, Andy Pollin 1. Andy Pollin, the number 1, and that's Pollin with 2 L's. Andy, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it. All the best.
You too. Take care of that, guys. Appreciate it.
Andy Pollin, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. And we're going to try to do that between now and the draft, which is 3 weeks from Thursday. We're going to try to, every single day, touch upon a team. I figured it out last night. We've got 18 shows between now and first round of the draft, and we'll have Pat on over a half a dozen times between now and then. But going to try to touch upon at least half the league. And
we can rely on Pat for the West Coast, the teams that we're going to be unable to get due to the fact when we do the show.
So let's do some quick math if we can. So the Packers figure, and it's very helpful that they're publicly traded because otherwise we'd never get any of this. So if the Packers ticket revenue is $77 million.
Right.
And he's right, Washington. So let's just cut it by what? 1/3? You want to cut it in half or by 1/3?
By 1/3.
So you're talking 50-ish million. Let's just say 52
of
million.
which just use 50. So 20 would go to the teams. I mean,
right.
Just an easy number for people.
40%.
That's all. Right. That's
so,
all I'm doing.
So now 40% of the ticket revenue goes to the other team. So that's 20 million that's getting divided by 31.
Right.
So we're talking roughly $700,000 annually, though. And, no idea, taxes, anything else, but let's just assume it's 700 grand. Is that enough? And let's just say he's been doing it a while.
I don't think it's enough on its own for them to throw Snyder out, but it might be the avenue to start moving him out.
Well, see,
with all the other things that are there, this could give them the leverage they want.
Okay, if you were one of the other owners, and let's just say, you get along with Dan, it makes no difference to who owns the team in Washington.
David, whether I got along with him or not, I wouldn't, if I'm in that club,
right?
You're going to have to do more than that for me to want to throw you out, because I don't want everybody looking into my stuff, and I don't want all of a sudden one thing to jeopardize my franchise.
So let's just say he's been doing this a while, because my guess is if he's been doing it for more than 1 to 2 years.
Right.
He's been doing this for a while. So let's just say it's 10 years. So a little less than half of the time that he's been owner. He's been doing this for 10, 12 years even. 500,000, 700,000 a year for 10, 12 years.
Well, there's no way it's the whole amount per team. There's no way he's been able, if it's 20 million, he's not just giving nothing. There's no way that they would have found this out and said, oh my God, Daniel Snyder's gone 7 years without paying us the 40%. So it's not 700,000 a team. It's more like 70,000 a team. Because what my guess is he's not counting all the money. If it's,
But if you're an owner, see, the reason why, even if I liked him, I would be inclined to want to remove him is if I can't trust him, then can't have him here. Just can't.
I understand. And I think the money's so little that on its own, I don't think this is enough to do it.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, these are billionaires. Whatever the amount of money is, it's definitely not enough. I mean, they'll probably go, really?
Why are you holding back?
Yeah.
Are you an idiot?
Well, but I mean, he's been petty before. So, and even if he could make restitution to the owners, to me, it's just simply a matter of, if you're one of those 31 others, are you going to go, do we really want this guy? I mean, because
I don't know how they want him now, other than he provides cover for all of them.
Well, there you go.
I mean, Daniel Snyder in the league makes every other owner look so much better, no matter what and who they are.
The other thing is, there will be people lined up for that franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Lined up. Now, I don't know if the NFL wants Bezos, but he already owns the Washington Post. It'd be real easy to buy the Washington franchise, and it'd be real easy to overpay for it, too. I mean, add $1 billion on whatever Denver's going to go for, and the thought is Denver's going for $4 billion.
I wonder if they want to do anything to open up investigations towards them down the road. And they've seemingly allowed everything he's done to go by without bothering them. And that we're now starting to get a little bit of momentum to push him to the side. But not kick him out yet, David. I don't think this is enough.
RCB in our Twitch chat room. You can't keep a guy if he's stealing from you. And I agree. Mark, I think it's very simple. If you find out that they're investigating him, he's done. That's the beginning, and they're going to push him out. If they don't investigate him, obviously, he's coming back.
Mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals. The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know if he plays for Vandy or he plays for Tennessee. Don't know if his team won or lost. But some guy hits a home run, and one of the best players on the team. And I guess they come out and they challenge the bat. And the bat's got a sticker on it. And I guess the bat has to have a sticker on it like it was approved. Apparently the sticker was for the game on Wednesday. The game was on Friday. And they're like, well, it's the same bat. I mean, it passed inspection,
Right.
and the umpire disallowed the home run. And it was like first game of the 3-game series, like middle innings. I'm guessing that was a pretty spirited series the rest of the way.
Yeah.
So
Look at this move. Whoop.
whoop. Oh,
It's pretty good, isn't it?
oh,
Especially from this angle. Watch this one. Watch that.
Oh, right.
That's
yes. That's filthy. So this is better.
this is a home run.
Yes, this bothers me.
I mean, I don't know. That's
First off,
it's a
you
great
have no idea if he holds on to it.
it's a great play. But how I mean it's
Well,
a home
he
run.
does the
He could have dropped it, picked it up.
no, but they would have
What? They would have what?
that was
How
at,
would you
that was
know?
at UCF.
How would you know?
But it was
How would you know?
the fans right there. It was at UCF. They probably would have been like, I don't know.
They're all standing there holding a beer. Literally, look at them again. All 4 fans are standing there holding a beer.
He elevated his ass
Okay,
over the fence, though.
I don't understand how that's a catch. You ended up over the fence into the stands. To me, once you fall over the fence,
Home run.
you're a fan. What's the difference between me catching it in the first row or you in my lap with the ball?
So you're saying if someone catches it but falls over, it should be a home run?
Yes.
Yes.
Both David and I agree with that.
Yes. I
How
don't
is that-
understand
how's
how
that an
that's an
out?
out.
I mean,
Everybody's
And we're the only, no one else feels like us. But we both have always felt this way. Now you go over, catch it, bring it back. That's a catch.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I don't
go
care
up,
if your
catch
toes.
it,
I don't
flip
care
over
if
the
your
wall.
toes and knees hang on the wall, and you're able to peel yourself back with that ball. You stayed in the field.
so if Torrey Hunter would have made that catch in right field at Fenway Park in that playoff game, you don't.
No, and then to me, and then he flipped over the wall.
You're saying home run?
To me, it would have been a home run.
I don't know, man. I think you got to respect the highlight.
The fuck respect. Either he caught it or he didn't.
The ball either went over the fence or it didn't, and I don't care. I mean, I don't even go that. The ball did the ball go over the fence?
But that's
no,
why-
no.
Yes. The ball went over the fence, but that's why it's a robbery because.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
not.
When you bring it back into play.
But does it touch the ground over the fence?
Who cares? Who cares? The ball ends up over the fence. What's a home run? A ball hit over the fence.
You're saying that like NFL crosses the plane, touchdown.
Yes.
Doesn't need to touch the ground. It crosses the plane. I get it. Coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, on this first Monday of April. It's National Championship Monday, Kansas and Carolina. Jayhawks a 4-point favorite. Our poll question, who's cutting down the nets tonight? Kansas or North Carolina? It's as simple as that. No point spreads, nothing. Just who do you like? Who's going to win?
And like every poll question we've had, seemingly for the last 3 weeks, 2/3 are on one side, 1/3 is on the other. Kind of figured that way. There'll be a lot more Kansas today at the end of the day. If it gets up to 70%, I'd bet the house on North Carolina if I were you.
We need some help, and besides the obvious, but we need you to help clarify something for Miller and Moulton. We just got into a rather heated discussion during the break with young Felipe, but even if Felipe did not take part, we are in the minority on this. We know it.
And we know what the rule is. No one needs to tell us what the rule is here. We are
Right.
well aware of the rule.
We think the rule is wrong, as Marissa Tomei once famously said. The rule is wrong.
And this all stems from we have the 4-letter network on in the background and the top 10 plays we're running. And the final play was a catch in a USF baseball game.
Right fielder, running full speed, gets to the wall, leaps, catches the ball, and then flips over the fence.
And lands outside of the ballpark on the ground.
And the fence is dark, so you cannot see the right fielder when he flips over. He lands on the ground, and he doesn't immediately bounce up.
No, he did take his sweet time getting up, and then he kind of very nonchalantly pulls the ball out of the glove and says, I got it.
Yeah, and then clearly he was, shaken up a bit. I mean, it was a hard landing, and he felt it.
And it was a hell of a catch.
But was it a catch? By rule, it is.
We get it.
And we would like you, if you're watching on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel, or if you're just listening, we would like, even if you've never texted before, FSN Radio, one word, FSN Radio, text it to 21,000, 21000.
Sorry, like our new friend Lincoln, who joined us on Facebook today from Lake City.
Hi, Lincoln.
Exactly.
Top of the morning to you, buddy.
Our newest affiliate up there in Lake City. So we're happy to have you on board. And just curious if you think that should be a home run or an out. Because to David and I, it's a home run.
You end up outside the field of play with the ball.
But the ball never hits the ground.
Yeah, and it doesn't hit the ground when the person in the second row catches it either. It's a home run.
Wait a minute. I want you to just, instead of deflecting there,
Just refute it.
Just refute that. So when I'm in the front row, right where if I would have reached in front of that guy because he's now in my area and caught that ball, it's a home run.
Because he went,
once you cross that fence, that's a free ball. I can fight him for that ball. If I reach into play, it's fan interference. If I catch that, I didn't interfere with him. I just caught the ball in the stands.
Yes, and then you have the kid that
Jeffrey Mayer,
yeah,
right. He reached into the field of play.
But what's the difference between a fan catching the ball that never touches the ground and a player going over the fence, landing in his lap with that same ball?
By the way, Bartman did not reach into the field of play. All right. Bartman got a bad rap for many a reason.
Right.
But he did not reach over the wall. He reached up. His hands were at most even with the wall. But Moises Alou was trying to get to the ball that was, most people felt, in foul territory.
Yes, he was doing what all three of us would have done. But my point is that it is in the name, a robbery. Not only are you robbing the batter, but you are robbing the fans. You are robbing the ball from everyone.
Right, but in the robbery, you bring the ball back. You prevent the ball from going. You prevent the ball from going over the fence. Once the ball's going over the fence, you no longer robbed that batter of a home run because it went into the stands.
Can you refute our point? Listen, we're trying to. If this were a court case, if this were law and order, the law is on your side. We're trying to make new law here. We understand that the percentages are against us, but refute our reasoning. The ball does not end up in the field of play. The definition of a home run is a ball hit that lands over the fence. When the outfielder falls over the wall and hits the ground over the wall, we contend that's a home run.
I hear you.
Why are we wrong?
Because the catch was made. That's the catch was, and I get okay. NFL.
No.
It's baseball.
Baseball.
Yes, baseball.
No. Don't have one.
None of the other sports apply. There's nothing in the other sports that apply.
No, but I was gonna say it's like if you make an interception, but both your feet are out of bounds, for example. That's what kind of like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what we're saying.
It was a great catch, but he didn't get his feet down.
But
then it's not a catch.
But the peak of when someone cheers for a home run is when it doinks off a wall that's out of play. When it doinks off.
What does it have to do with the question we have to refute?
It's not doinking off anything. It's
when he lands. It's a really simple question we're asking. You refuse to answer it because you know if you do, you will end up agreeing with us. And you have to acknowledge that.
I can answer.
No. When the outfielder lands, okay, and you brought up a famous play much more recently that people may know. The 2013 ALCS. Ortiz hits the grand slam to tie things up against the Tigers. Torrey Hunter went racing to the short wall
at the bullpen and right field.
And he left. Now, he did not catch it. The ball landed in the bullpen. He just missed it. But he hit the wall and flipped over it into the bullpen. We contend if the ball was in his glove and he hits the wall and flips over it, once he lands in the bullpen, that's a home run.
My second favorite team out there is the Detroit Tigers. I said this as it happened. I thought it should have been a home run if he wouldn't have caught it. I've always thought that. I think it's a silly rule. And we have people here going, what about the infielder who falls into the seats and catches the ball? A foul ball that goes into the stands. The same rule would apply.
I want to ask you something. Do you think if that rule was implemented into Major League Baseball, the Red Sox would raise that fence?
No,
I don't.
I mean,
No, because you don't know what team it's going to apply for, and it would take away from the ballpark. And look,
And remember, we're not saying if an outfielder leaps over the wall, his arm and glove extend over the wall into the quote unquote crowd or outside the field of play, and he catches it and brings it back where he and the ball land in the field of play. That's a catch. That's an out. What we don't understand is when you land outside the field of play, where you land where it's a home run. How is it not a home run?
But now I'm thinking of situations where someone catches it, they fall over, and like they barely touch the outside ground for a second, but then they come down. If they touch the ground with their glove, is it home run? Are they going to look at the ruling and look at the replay and see, he barely grazes the ground here, but then he comes back in?
Would seem physically impossible to do that.
No.
To have that much composure of your body to be leaning that far over and come back in, but
you catch it, you bounce yourself off the ground, and then
it doesn't matter if you hit the ground. It's all about the ball. It's all about the ball. If the ball is caught in the field of play, it's an out.
And again, another football analogy that I made over the
Once
break.
again, it's baseball.
No, but again, crossing the plane, like you're saying, in football, the ball doesn't need to touch the ground. All it needs to do is cross the plane. You're saying it crosses the home run fence.
No. If it lands as a home run, if you bring the ball back, again, I just got a text from a buddy who I think simplifies this pretty well. It's the bringing it back in play that completes the play,
right?
Period. And I think that's perfectly said. It's the bringing it back into play that completes the play,
right?
Just think about that for a second and listen to what was said. I think that is great text, Joe.
I mean, I believe, to be honest, if you make a running catch, unlike the warning track, and take 2 steps and you hit the wall and end up falling over it, I believe that's a home run. I really do.
Who was it? Bouncing off of Canseco's head.
Yeah, but this I've never understood, and I will say I've never understood it. And we see it all the time in Little League and softball in the 200-foot fields, and people and they fall over and they're right there on the grass and they hold up the ball. It's like you're 2 feet beyond the fence. That's a home run.
I mean, I don't know.
And David may disagree with me. I don't know what you want to do about fair foul in the dugout, because fouls are infinite. They want to run up the stairs and go 30 feet to the 40th row and catch the ball in foul territory. I don't know if I really give a damn, because it's a foul ball. We're talking about home runs.
And listen, we know we're in the minority. I mean, we know it. I mean, the text line, although it's a little more 50-50 in our Twitch chat room than I thought it would be. Don't know what it's like on the text line. Okay, and I admit,
the text line just went bananas. It just blew up, David. We've never had this happen before.
And I admit we're trying to make new law here, and I get it. And most people in real life and in sports don't like to make new law.
I mean, you'd be robbing the reward of the highlight, though.
Let me get this straight. So the ball's going over the fence. I throw my glove up in the air at it, and by a miracle, the glove is open and the ball hits the glove, and it lands 5 feet over the fence, and it's in the glove. It's sitting right there on the grass, and the umpire can see it.
I think every outfielder has dreamed of that happening at least once.
Once again, I don't care about dreams. I don't care what it looks like on SportsCenter. Is it a home run or an out? And I've always contended it should be a home run. You did not keep the ball in the field of play. It left the yard. That is the definition of a home run.
We will continue this and get to all of your text on the other side. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Missouri, that you and I are on the same page. All right. That's just, I think it's as simple as that. You need to come back down. You need to come back down within the field of play. So you're saying there is one definition for a homeowner that can be refuted. Johnny Mac, I did get a little carried away. I'm good, actually. And yeah, I know throwing a glove is a separate rule and prohibited. Yeah, Sonny, I'm with you. I mean, they have fences for a reason. If the ball ends up over the fence, okay, we don't care about your dreams. That's Felipe. Did you see hops there? Basically, us to you. We don't care about your dreams. Oh, that's a good point. We don't. Hop sent in Miller and Moulton to Felipe. We don't care about your dreams. But Chi-Town, a strikeout is a third strike that is caught by the catcher. That is cleanly caught by the catcher. So it's not a strikeout. Even though I know they put it in the book as a strikeout. That's where we are, the voodoo man. It's over the fence. It's a home run. I don't. No, Chi-Town, you're right in that sense, because they call it a strikeout and reach on a wild pitch or pass ball.
Well, you steal first, right? Isn't it a stolen base?
No,
No,
you can't steal first.
So it's recorded as just
It's recorded as a strikeout, and then a
pass ball or
reach
a wild.
on a wild pitch or a pass ball.
Gotcha.
And so that's why, he says, hey.
Yes, Dad, exactly. But he's not bringing it into play if he lands in the stands.
I'm going to bring up a play really quick.
Oh, boy. We're going to read text first.
Now, there may be a time where Mark is going from one text to another where you can interject, but make sure you're looking at him.
But we literally got like 20, 25 texts here. We got to.
See, Deadstruck, I agree with you. Do you think it's like a ball going out of bounds in basketball? It's going out, but it isn't out of bounds until it lands. If a player brings it back into play, it's in play. Exactly. But like if the ball's going out of bounds, when Rodman dove for the ball the one time and he actually caught the ball and fell into the crowd, they ruled the ball out of bounds.
Austin Jackson.
What about Austin Jackson?
This was in 2017.
Well, okay. I don't know.
Hold on. Here we go.
Well, but if no one knows what you're talking about, it's tough to bring it up as an example.
Can you see him?
Yeah.
He makes that catch and then he falls over.
All right. It's a home run. I'm just telling
you. It's a home run. In our world, that's a home run.
In our world, it's a home run.
Extension, bro.
Great.
Cradles.
Then he didn't get. Okay, in basketball, let me just ask you, in basketball, because you're like to compare sports, is he inbounds or out of bounds?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network. First Monday in April, national championship game tonight. Kansas and North Carolina. Jayhawks looking for their first title in 14 years. They're a 4-point favorite. Our poll question at that Mark Miller, at the David Moulton, at FL Sports Network, all on Twitter, also at floridasportsnetwork.com. Please vote. Who do you like tonight? Who's cutting down the nets? Kansas or Carolina? Josh Pastner in 15 minutes time to break that game down, the Georgia Tech men's basketball coach.
The text number is 21,000. The key word is FSN radio. You do that combination, then you're in, and many of you have been texting. As this person just simply says, out, caught in the field of play and carried out. Actually, in the case that we're talking about, it really wasn't caught in the field of play. He reached over the fence when the ball was caught, hence to Felipe's point. The robbery is catching it out of the field of play and bringing the ball back into the field of play.
Right. Number one highlight, Sports Center, top 10 plays, blah, blah, blah. South Florida, UCF, outfielder, I think it was for the Bulls, right fielder, home run is taken away, but he falls over the wall with the ball. Lands over the wall. Miller and Moulton contend that's a home run.
And we always have. This
Right.
is something going back to the Ortiz, Torrey Hunter play, and Torrey Hunter did not catch it, but David and I talking about it. To us, that would have been a home run if he would have caught it.
Right. Now, we know the rule is not on our side. We argue this is like going, before the Supreme Court. We're trying to make new law here. We have just always contended you must bring the ball back into the field to play. That makes it an out.
This person says the field of play means that if a player can get to it, that should mean that if out of the field of play, it should mean the player can no longer touch it. So that's what their point is, that if they can touch it in the field of play and they go out, they contend that it's a catch.
Now, let's just say a foul ball. You and I have to then defend this. We think it's really simple on a ball at the wall. Foul ball, catcher, near the dugout and leaps up, makes the catch, only falls into the first row. All right. Is that an out? Or if he ends up in the first row, is that a foul ball? Because if we're using our logic, with the
Then
outfield
then
wall,
that's a strike in our logic.
don't we have to use the same logic, okay, in terms of the railings? That if you fall into the crowd and that's where you end up, then that's a foul ball, right?
Then that's a foul ball.
You would be stripping one of Derek Jeter's greatest highlights.
I would.
Actually, no, we wouldn't. Do you know why? Because the rule would start today.
If it were to happen again.
Although what is interesting is that in Jeter's case, he clearly had possession in the field of play. His
That's a good
momentum took him. Okay.
Which a lot of people are saying, and just to sum up, several people who are saying if you catch it in play and then go over, it should be a ground rule double. You know, you said if someone catches it and takes 2 steps, hits the wall, and falls over the wall,
Right.
in their opinion, they should be a ground rule double. A few people have said that, just for what it's worth. This person says half of college softball top plays is a catch that saves a home run. The girl goes over the wall. But I agree with you guys.
And that's all. It's just always struck us as we're like, how is that a catch? They're on the other side of the wall with the ball. That's where it ended. That's where the play ended. How is that not a home run?
2 people have said, one said that we're badgering the witness, that you were badgering the witness, and also said Philly should go all Al Pacino. I'm out of order. You're out of order. This whole proceeding is out of order.
I just disagree.
Felipe, you probably could have held me in contempt there, that last segment. There's no doubt about it. Get your checkbook out, Mr. Moulton.
I mean, some of the most insane plays in baseball have come because of that.
I understand.
You're just going to take it all away. Okay.
Well, we're not going to, rewrite the past. We're just saying if we were making the rules, that would not have been the number 1 play on SportsCenter because it would have been a home run.
And it may still have been the number 1 play on SportsCenter.
I was going to say.
That was a home run.
Yeah. I just think you have to give the fielder credit.
I'll give him all the credit in the world. Nice effort. Great try. All right. Wish all our players played that hard. All right. Let's watch this guy round the bases together.
Oh, the credit is the out.
Tell you what, the difference in the generations right here. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense.
As long as we get a highlight, it's a good play.
I mean, you know what? You want work product
I
here.
mean,
No
are we
offense. I care
trying-
about the answer.
Are we trying to sell baseball right now? Really? That's BS.
You're trying to sell highlights. You're not watching a game. All you want is a highlight.
That's all my generation cares about.
And that's on you.
Yeah, and we're the future of the world, unfortunately.
You too.
What are you guys going to do about it?
We've already done enough.
Exactly.
All right. We really have.
At some point, we're going to die and let you take it over.
We're going to try not to screw it up anymore.
But right now, Gen X is in charge, my friend, and don't you forget it.
I mean, you make an interesting point, though, about, hey, that play is exciting. That's fun. Do we really want to have a rule? Like if Miller and Moulton's rule was in place, I could see where you and many others would be like, hey, come on, man, we got to make that a catch. That's fun. That's exciting.
Wait a minute. What's more fun? I can answer this for both of you right now. What's more fun, an out or a home run? Wait a minute.
Hold on. There's
an
one
out or a home run. No,
on.
it's a question. What's more exciting, an out or a home run?
What kind of out? There's only one way to hit.
No.
There's 2 ways to hit a home run: inside the park or over the fence. Think about how many different ways there are.
All
to
more
get
exciting
an out.
than you're out.
Really? Because a home run that barely goes over the fence versus Manny Machado getting a ball that was way to the left of third base and firing it 110 miles an hour across the diamond to first base.
Okay.
I'm picking the Manny Machado highlight.
Okay, then the bottom of the 9th, 3-run home run to win the game by 1. If you want to play this game, I'll out highlight you.
Okay, but there are way more ways to get outs in baseball than
Yes,
there are
there
to hit a home run.
Listen, it's really simple. I don't care about style points. I really don't. You guys want to debate highlights and making the SportsCenter top 10. That's great. Is it a home run or an out? That's really all that we're debating here. Everything else is noise. Everything else is superfluous to the argument. All right.
I will say it's what was that word you just used?
Superfluous.
That's the first time this has ever been used on this show.
Oh yeah, that's a first.
And I don't even know if I properly used it.
I don't know if you did or not, but I'm
Yeah.
going to give you credit for it.
So, do you think it's a home run or do you think it's an out? I think by definition of a home run, it's an out.
Well, you could think that, but I know what it is.
Well, and we do know what it is too. It's a home run. We've contended for quite a long time that we disagree with the rule. That's all.
Yeah. And we saw the highlight again, and we looked at one another and said, "Don't you think that's an out?" And the other said, "Yes." So that's all. We brought it up.
And I want to thank UCF in South Florida for providing us 2 segments of a Monday show today.
College baseball.
And quite a few texts.
Yes, thanks for the
texters. Are people in agreement or no?
No, most people are disagreeing with us.
Which is what we expected. And we knew that going in.
Yes.
We'll say what is interesting is in the Twitch chat room, much more 50-50.
I don't think we lost big, but we lost. Because, again, most people don't want change. People are resistant to rule changes until it affects their team negatively.
Right. Then they want to change the NFL overtime. Then both teams must have the ball. Why? Well, because it's not fair. I'm a Bills fan. Yeah, well, the very next week, the Chiefs won the toss and the Bengals won.
It's not fair.
10 out of 12, baby. I'm part of the 10. Not picking on Bills fans. I'm just saying. Miller and Moulton.
You might need a walk this break.
Yeah, you're probably right. Josh Pastner, men's basketball coach at Georgia Tech. We'll have him answer our poll question and break down the game. Duke. Oh, look how messed up I am. Kansas or Carolina?
Moulton just took Duke.
Right.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think the plan works, by the way.
Brooklyn's technically the 10. They're tied with Charlotte, though. They're both a game behind Atlanta, who's the 8. You got 10 teams above 500 in the East. You have 7 in the West, by the way. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Just so funny, Klecko, because I know many a Twins fan who hated the Jack Buck call when Kirby hit the walk-off in Game 6. And we'll see you tomorrow night. They thought it wasn't enthusiastic enough. Thought it was showing his bias against them. Don't know why they thought he was biased against them, but I don't think, by the way, they've done the national title game yet at the top, but they're 35 minutes into this show. I don't think they've done Duke, Kansas. Could be wrong.
I need to find that clip now.
Arch, I don't understand. If the player didn't touch it, it would have landed in bounds.
USF's description of the highlight was, "You have to be kidding."
Got it. Player clipping it. There's more reason for it to be. Yeah, got it.
I got it. I know what I'm going to do.
All right.
Let me call.
Frank Gore ever win a Super Bowl? Lost one with the Niners. Don't think so.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Josh Pastner, kind enough to join us once again. He said, call anytime. We said, you don't say that to Miller and Moulton because we will. He's the men's basketball coach at Georgia Tech. You can follow him on Twitter at GT Josh Pastner. GT Josh Pastner. Josh, it's David and Mark once again. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. Some great games this past weekend, and should be a heck of a game tonight for the championship with Kansas and Carolina playing.
Well, Josh, no doubt. I mean, really and truly, Villanova got off to a rough start, but then we said 30 minutes of just tremendous basketball. and maybe a little bit of nerves in the second game, but they played an unbelievable game. But what was, to us, fantastic about both games was both teams were hitting shots. From an offensive standpoint, Josh, that was high-level basketball, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think for the general fan and for people just watching, obviously they love to see offense. They love to see the ball being put in the basket. And you're right. The 70 minutes of basketball, the first 10 minutes, Villanova did struggle to score. But other than that, the next 70 minutes of the Final Four, the 30, as you mentioned, the Kansas-Villanova game, and the all 40 versus Duke and Carolina, there was a lot of offensive firepower and shot making and big shot making in key times. And so, it made it a heck of a 2-game deal and 4 great teams playing. It would have been interesting to see what Villanova would have done with a healthy Justin Moore. Unfortunately, he had torn the Achilles, and but Kansas is playing as well as anybody, and they both Kansas and Villanova, the amount of threes they made in that game was incredible. And then obviously the Duke Carolina game, there was just some big time shot making going back and forth, especially late in the game.
Josh, we contend that college hoops needs to, open up the sport a touch, that it's gotten pretty physical. Up until the Final Four, scoring had been down. Just curious, your view as a coach, this is your life. When you look at the sport, okay, do you think the on-court product needs to be opened up at all?
Yeah, I do. I think, here's what I think. I think this year it's gotten really physical. I think the physical of play, the physicality of things. And look, basketball is a physical game. I mean, you've got to have toughness. There's a toughness part of the game, but it's not football. And there's still a lot, basketball is supposed to be a game of skill and finesse. Now, finesse and skill doesn't mean you can't play tough and physical. It just means that it can't be a body to body, just a fight every step of the way. There's got to be, like I said, it's a skill game. It's a finesse game. It's a footwork game. It's an angle game. It's a fundamentals game. And so I think there was a lot of physicality this year. I think this year I felt the game got really physical. Because I would think there's been a lot talk about it as a narrative nationally about the physicality of the game, that they'll make some adjustments in the off season to really focus on freedom of movement, not so physical in the post. And yes, that might cause for more free throws to initially, but I think players will adjust. A couple other thoughts on that is, I think 2 reasons people get afraid, not afraid, but maybe there's some thoughts about not calling as many fouls. One, does it slow the game down in the sense that, you have your windows of television, and if you start calling every little thing, does that extend the game to 3 hours? The second thing is, the game is so fast now, the players are so good, and things happen so quickly. And so sometimes there are things, and look, like I said, there is a physicality and a toughness part of basketball. I mean it's a sport. There's part of that. But what makes basketball so great and why people love it is the finesse and the skill part. And like I said, you can play with skill and finesse because of the it's an angles game, it's a pivoting game, it's a shot making game. It's moving your feet defensively game, and doing that and still having a physicality and a toughness about you, but not letting it get to the point where it becomes at times an MMA match where it becomes so physical and a fight. Basketball should be more about a foot fight, not a fist fight. And I think that's important because basketball, so much of it is about feet and footwork more so than the upper body. And that's why I like to say it's more of a foot advantage game or a foot fight than a fist fight.
Well, and Josh, let me just ask it simply: is defense easier to coach than offense? And is that part of it? That we watch these sports and these coaches Liv, and maybe you as well, but it seems that more coaches are into coaching defense than offense. Is that just because it's easier to get the hustle out of the guys?
That's a great question. Look, defense is something that, and actually I said this when I got to Georgia Tech, defense is something that you can teach, because defense is about a mentality of you don't. It's not that you don't have to have skill to play defense, because you do, because you got to move your feet. You got to be, but it's a mentality issue in a sense that, and remember, the rules are different in college than it is in the pros, because you don't have defensive 3 seconds. Not everybody on the floor, in the NBA, most time everyone on the floor is just, they're obviously a pro and they're an incredible player. The spacing is different. In college, not everyone's like that, and there's not defensive 3 seconds. So the thing that you can control more as a coach is defense, because it's positioning. It's, are you in the right position? Are you, people like to use the floor shrinking. Use the word shrinking the floor to make it really crap for the offensive player, because you're allowed to per the rules of the college game. And yes, it's as a coach, you have more control and more ability, if you're not as talented in some areas, to win games through defense. But what I said at Georgia Tech when I got the job here is, we can teach defense. You got to be able to recruit and develop offense. And sometimes in offense, it's really about, does somebody have that innate ability that's inside of them to be able to put the ball in the basket? Because putting the ball in the basket, it requires a lot of skill. And sometimes you can run great offense, or you can do whatever you want to do, but if guys don't put the ball in the basket, I mean, that's really what it is. And not to oversimplify it and to sound as kindergartenish as I'm going to say this, basketball is a make-and-miss game. The objective is to still outscore your opponent. And if you look at the best coaches around the country, not that their teams don't play great defense, but the firepower they have offensively is what win at such a high level, is being able to put the ball in the basket. And that's why it is an incredible profession that you're relying on 18 to 23-year-olds to make shots. And it's a make and miss game. And so I think you're right. You make a great point on that. And it's much easier to control the game from a coaching standpoint on the defensive side than it is from the offensive side.
Josh Pastner, the men's basketball coach at Georgia Tech. And we're about ready to get into Carolina and Kansas tonight. You faced Carolina twice this year. They beat you both times, early December and mid-January, and yet they're a very different team now. What is it that you see about them that's different?
Yeah, we played them twice. I thought both times when we played them, I had said both times after we played them, this team is good enough to go to the Final Four and possibly win the whole thing. And I said that because I knew how good their starting five was. Now, they played excellent against us both times, but there was times when they played games after us, they did not play so well. And so they were very inconsistent throughout the season. And, what really turned their season around was the game at Virginia Tech. It was probably a must-win game. They had, played Pittsburgh earlier in the week at Carolina. Carolina looked like they didn't want to be there, and they didn't play well at all, and they lost the game at home. And they weren't, at that point, I don't think they were going to make the tournament. And they had to go play at Virginia Tech on that Saturday. They hadn't had a quad one win at that point. It was a must-win game, and they won the game at Virginia Tech. And that really turned their season around. And I just think when you're talking about offense, they're as good as any team. Their starting five is as good as any starting five in America, especially with their offensive firepower. You have multiple guys who scored over 30 points in the NCAA tournament. Taylor Love has had a game of over 30. R.J. Davis. Brady Manick versus Baylor, I think we might have said this last time, would have had over 40 if he didn't get tossed out of the game versus Baylor. So they have so many weapons. I haven't even mentioned Baycott. And they're just really, really good offensively. And they are a high-level shot-making team. As much as everyone's talking about Caleb Love's shot that probably put Duke away on Saturday night. How about the big threes that Manic hit in that last 3-minute, 2-minute stretch? Hit a couple huge threes that really, was a big deal in putting Carolina, allowing them to win the basketball game.
Well, in Kansas now, they get Nova without a player now that you got Baycott with the ankle. I mean, Kansas playing great ball, but you get to where you are by playing great and getting a few breaks, and it certainly looks like the breaks are falling Kansas's way as this tournament's finishing.
Yes. I mean, Kansas has obviously, they're really good, and you don't get to the level that Kansas is at. Remember, they are a 1 seed, and they are a 1 seed. They were the only 1 seed to make the Final Four, and they're loaded with good players. Bill Self does as good of his job as anyone on pounding that ball into the paint. I think they're going to try to do all they can to go at Manic. If you look at Brady Manic defensively, most teams try to get him involved in guarding. If you notice the start of the game with Duke, Banchero, they had just Banchero driving Manic. They were trying to get whoever Manic was guarding involved in switches, whatever it may be. That all being said, Kansas is, they're talented and now they're, Carolina's bigger than Villanova in the paint with Baycott and Manic. Manic is a legit 6'10". But Kansas plays fast now. They'll get up and down in transition. They're playing as well as anyone. It really comes down to, I think, for the game tonight is, does Kansas stop North Carolina? Really, that's what it is. Kansas is going to score. They will score, and I think they'll score enough to win. It's whether do they have the defensive ability. Sometimes it's good defense and better offense. It's all going to come down to Carolina shot making. Kansas will score against Carolina, but it's going to come down to what Kansas does defensively. So when I say they might score enough to win, so Kansas, they might score 75 on Carolina, and that's plenty to win the game. The issue is Carolina is so lethal offensively with their shooting and their guys that can just make tough shots. 75 might not be enough, and they score 80, Carolina. And so really that's what it comes down to the game is, are they able to stop Carolina on the defensive end?
Josh, we got about 30 seconds. I'm wondering if I'm Carolina, do I double the post and say to Agbaji, I don't think you're going to hit 6 threes again? Because there are times in which Kansas can't put the ball in the ocean from the perimeter. Would you double down if you're Carolina and force the bigs to kick it out and force Kansas to beat you from the outside?
Good question. And this also could be where you look at the other way. You say, hey, let's the bigs might be able to score on us, but let's take the 3 out. Can twos beat us and take out the 3 and not let somebody hit 6 threes, and let them just, if they're going to score, let them get 2s. And so I think that will be a determination by Hubert Davis, because you can't get hit in the paint and having them score 40 to 50 points in the paint, but then also having a guy or two hit multiple 3-point attempts. They'll have to make that decision. Which one are they going to give up?
Josh, as always, appreciate your time. Next time we have you on, want to talk to you about the transfer portal and how hard it is being a coach these days. Okay.
I would love to talk about that. I got a lot of good thoughts about that. So have me on and we can talk about the state of the recruiting world for sure.
Great. Josh, thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Josh Pastner, men's basketball coach at Georgia Tech.
That's a pretty good breakdown there. Don't know if we can do better. He only played Carolina twice.
Right. When they were an attorney team, but they were when they played him. And he got a lot of heat mid-January because he said that quote after they beat him a second time. He said, this team can go to the Final Four. And people said, you're an idiot.
They're in the final game, aren't they? It's our poll question. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network, and answer who's cutting down the nets tonight, UNC or Kansas. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
For Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Nothing but the NCAA women's thing. Then the next thing up is going to be the Masters. All right. They've yet to talk.
No, they have
about
not
the
talked
advances.
national. No. They're telling you it doesn't.
And then they're going to go from Masters to MLB and MLS. It is funny, and we probably care more about this sort of thing because, well, we're in the industry, but we're watching ESPN's crawl here, and every single thing that they're crawling has to do with something that they are covering. Like the 6th or 7th biggest story today, right, according to them, is Kansas and North Carolina tonight.
Do they not cover any days of the Masters?
No. But they just did a bunch of stuff on the Masters.
Oh.
Why? Because they have coverage Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
It got cold in here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, unfortunately.
Well, it's already 9:00.
May have to bring a sweatshirt. And I'm not mocking. I mean, you may have to, pull over or something.
I'm fine.
I mean, I'm good too.
I
but
like it when I'm cold. I don't ever want to be warm doing a show. It gets me tired. It's 9:00, David.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. This show's gone by so quickly.
You thought it was 8?
I thought it was 8 because
Okay.
I literally
That's
almost
good.
poked my head into Rick Peterson going, "What are you doing here so early?"
Sonny, I'd love to talk more baseball if our audience would be interested in it. Klecko, I'm with you. She should be the Grand Master of the parade. Don't know. Unfortunately, when the parade is held, it's mid to late February, and she'll probably be playing in Europe and then getting ready for a WNBA season again.
Mark, really quick, I just want to reiterate the point that I learned more on this show than I will in school ever. I've started to carry around cash now. And
Good for you.
And it is so much better.
Oh, my goodness. Did you just hear that?
It's because I have this tiny wallet, and I was like, okay, it's going to be tough to fit cash in here until I discover that there's this little compartment right here, and I have a wad of cash in here.
Wait a minute. Your wallet has a compartment for cash?
I didn't know about it. It was like very hidden, but it's right here. I didn't notice it until a couple weeks ago. So yeah, carrying cash around is great. I was wrong.
First step.
Does it have a?
You want to really
screw
start,
you?
You want to really start messing with people, Felipe.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Monday of April. National Championship Monday. It is Masters Week. It's, opening day and days of the baseball season week. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Would be remiss, since this is the local hour, if we didn't say a tip of the hat and then some to the pride of Fort Myers High School, Destiny Henderson. It was only the national championship game played with millions watching, no big deal, and she was the best player on the floor last night, which is saying something because the best player in college basketball plays on her team, but 26 points to help lead South Carolina to the national championship. Hot steaming deal.
Awesome. Can you figure out a better way to end your career? I mean, it's a career high in points. She had never scored that many points in a game. She was a senior, and she won a national title.
Right.
Goodbye, everybody.
The starting point guard on the wire-to-wire number one team in the country. And took them to the Final Four last year. So a great college career and a chance to be a first-round WNBA pick. I mean, not the biggest player in the world, but if you're into a classic point guard, which less and less teams are, but she is a classic point guard. Pass first, defend, lead a team. I mean, I have seen mock drafts in which she is a first-round pick. I've seen her go as high as 8.
She's got her own clothing line. Anything's possible.
Nice.
Which I think is pretty cool.
I hope, and we've talked about this before, but there's the WNBA season, which takes place late spring and throughout the summer in the States. And then there's the season in Europe, which takes place in the winter. And women's basketball players, they make a lot more money playing overseas than they do playing in the States. And so my guess is she'll try to do both. And she'll play WNBA first before going overseas. The only bad thing about going overseas, Mark, is that to me, it would take her out of the running of being Grand Marshal of the Edison of Lights Parade. Because if I'm running the parade right now, well, this sucker's done.
Yeah.
She went to Fort Myers High School, for goodness sakes. She just won South Carolina a national title.
And she did. I mean,
right.
It was on her back last night.
And
Boston may have been the player in the semi game that got him to the final, but last night she was terrific. She was the best player on the floor.
And so, I mean, if I'm running that parade, I mean, don't you think you walk into the meeting today or you call somebody up and go, listen, don't know if she's going to be available, but we got our Grand Marshal.
David, I do this to you on a lot of subjects, and I apologize for it in advance. But when it comes to parades, I am not involved at all in the decision-making of it. You love a parade.
I do.
You
All
love going
kinds of parade.
and you love a parade.
I do.
But I think you're on to something.
You know, it worked out perfectly for Sammy Watkins when he had a big Super Bowl and the Chiefs won, and the parade was only a couple weeks later.
Right.
And so they could pick up the phone and go, hey. And he's like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. So, you know, I don't know if timing will work, but she needs to make it happen.
I would think she's still going to be in school through the rest of.
Well, but I mean, is it the parade? Didn't the parade already happen, or is it coming up? So I thought the parade
already happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why, see, I'm worried she's going to be out of school. She's going to be playing overseas. That's my fear, that they're going to have to find somebody else. But that's who you want as your grand marshal. I mean, done. I mean, for goodness sakes, they could reroute the thing and almost like go right by her school.
It's pretty close as it is, right?
But just tremendous job. Great to see. And South Carolina was dominant. Don't know how many of you watched, but Destiny Henderson, the pride of Fort Myers High School, they had some great teams when she was there, and she was a big part of the reason why.
Have you ever been part of being a grand marshal of any sort?
Yes. I actually was a
You
couple
were the
times.
grand marshal?
I was the last float person, yes.
But not just like the whatever news team. David Moulton is the grand marshal.
Yeah,
what parades were you grand marshal of?
St. Patrick's Day Parade in Binghamton.
Really?
Yep. That was a big deal.
What did you wear to be a grand marshal? Did you have like the band major type, hat and?
No, I wore a green sweatshirt.
Just a green sweatshirt.
Yeah, it was the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
I know.
I had jeans on. I was in my mid 20s, approaching late 20s, so I was a lot skinnier. I could, look okay in jeans, sneakers, and a green shirt of some kind. So
I've been in a couple parades that I've had to ride in floats. The one I laugh about is like when when I was part of a team that won a championship in Atlanta, they had like the one truck of the TV and radio crew.
Right.
And I just thought that was hysterical. Like who gave no one gave a damn about anybody in the team, let alone the two schmucks that are doing radio and TV.
In fact, you guys could have held up a sign going down, do you recognize any of us? Right. So, yeah, I've told you the TV station we were on.
No, I know.
It's just ridiculous. Had the highest ratings in the country in terms of rating and share. I mean, I had very little to do with it. They had, top 5 ratings in the country before I got there. But yeah, I mean, we're talking like 63 ratings, 78 share. We're talking literally like Super Bowl numbers in Kansas City when the Chiefs are playing the Super Bowl.
And you know what? I forget. When you were doing this, sports was still a big deal in the news.
Right.
It's not like they wanted the weather. I mean, now it would just be the weather guy.
No, I got more time than Bob Buchanan did, the weather guy.
See, that's what it's hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that sports got more time than weather on local news. In fact, I was out of town over the weekend and I threw on the local news to get weather. Imagine that in the morning. And here, to my shock, you know what they had? A local sports report.
What? I have to wait 4 minutes for the weather? What kind of news operation is this?
I told you this during the break. I did get a kick. I don't know what the guy's name was. I don't even know what channel it was. Because the first local channel that was doing news Saturday morning, and they've got magic highlights. I'm in Orlando. And he's like, well, let's get to the highlights. Good news is we've only got 3 more of these left. And the team's got to be ticked, but what are you supposed to do? You got the worst team in the damn league, and you've got to throw these highlights, and they're still doing, for whatever reason, they're not clipping them off of whatever and giving courtesy. Someone's still going to shoot these local highlights.
Ooh, really?
They were low-level shots. I was stunned.
Wow. To lose by 30 at home to the Knicks. Man. Oh, wow. Wow. And yes, the Magic are tied with the Rockets for the worst record in the league. But so anyway, I think, any tips we can to the Festival of Light people, I think you got your grand marshal. Try to secure it now. My guess is she won't be able to make it because she'll be starring for a team in Europe making 6 figures, and good for her.
Absolutely. I don't think she'll be able to fly home for that weekend if she is playing overseas, but congratulations on ending a great career. What did she have, how many did she win the state? 3 times with Fort Myers?
I'll have to look it up. I mean, I know they made it every year to the Final Four there in Lakeland. She was not the only terrific player on their high school teams. They had a really good thing going there for about 5 years or so.
What a career.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's just getting going on the pro side, but what a career. Just an amazing, amazing job. And to have your career high in your last collegiate game, what a thrill, and walk off with a national title. Congratulations. Absolutely top level stuff there.
Our poll question, who's cutting down the nets tonight, Carolina or Kansas? Right now, 4 out of every 7 of you say Kansas. 57% say Jayhawks, 43% say Tar Heels. And not to get too nitty-gritty or X's and O's, I do think if you're Carolina, if you play this straight, you're going to get beat. And what I mean by that, Mark, is that your interior defenders are not as good as their big fella. And my fear is if you don't double down, Maycott's on a bum ankle and Manick can't defend. And so to me, if they throw it into the big fella, you're in a bad spot every time. And so I know what Josh Pastner last segment was saying, in which he's like, well, do you give up the 2? But the one thing you don't want to do is have them also hit the 3. You know, my feeling is that he'll score 40 on you. And I don't know if you can win. And my worse fear than that, Mark, is he's going to foul out your front line and they have no depth. I mean, Mark, they had their bench play 13 total minutes in the semifinal against Duke. Their bench played 13 total minutes. They scored 2 points.
Well, now you got the big fellow with the ankle there.
Right.
Who's going to, I mean, you don't know what's there.
Right. I mean, you know, he'll try to give it a go.
He's going to try to give it a go,
right.
But that's going to be tough. Look, at the end of the day, for Carolina to win, they're going to have to do what they've been doing. They're going to have to keep shooting at an unbelievable clip. They're going to have to be very efficient from beyond the arc tonight, and they can be. They shoot the ball really well. They've got, as Josh Pastner said, they've got multiple guys that have gone 30-plus points in a game.
Listen, if Kansas plays the way they did against Villanova, they shot 54% from the field, inside the arc and outside the arc. So Villanova took nothing away from Kansas. And now they didn't double the big. They didn't. But Kansas just hit their threes. I mean, Agbaji there went 6 of 7 from 3. And some of them were contested.
And they started out red hot from behind the arc, too. You're.
But I remember Kansas playing in fact, they beat Dwayne Wade and Marquette in the semi one time, and they beat them by like 40. They played out of this mind. It was like 103-60. And then they lost the championship game to Syracuse. I mean, Mark, we talk about it in golf all the time. If you go out and shoot a 64 on Saturday, how many times does the player come back and shoot 66 on Sunday, or do they struggle around par?
Well, and I mean, obviously both these teams played so well, shot the ball so well in the semifinal game. Can you expect them to do it again? And obviously from Kansas's case, they played a smaller team. They're going to have to play a team with a lot more size in North Carolina. It will be a different game from that standpoint.
So, and Jeff in Iowa in our Twitch chat room telling us that Fort Myers won 3 state titles in a row with Destiny.
That's what I thought.
So
that's what I read
you did
last
say
night.
3 in a row. Yeah. So thanks, Jeff, for confirming. Appreciate that. Miller and Moulton. She was just on the Today Show, is what we're told. We were getting that as we were talking about her. Apparently, she was on the Today Show. So, how about that? Good for her. That's awesome.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, come on. Best game, career high for a natty. You can't. Those are things, as you always say, they get rejected by filmmakers when you try to put these things on.
Too hokey. So good for her. Was a starter midway through her sophomore year, and has been a starter at South Carolina, the best program in the country over the last few years, for most of the last 3 years. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly, and all that stuff coming up in about 25 minutes here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
He
okay.
pays attention to everything. I don't know if this is worthy of talking about, but I saved this. So, did you see the guy? I'm sure you didn't. Who won on the Champions Tour this week?
I did not.
His name's Steve Alker, Alker.
Okay.
Apparently, it was his second career win. All right. I did not know that. I had never heard of him before. And you and I pay attention to this stuff. So apparently, like midway through last year, he Monday qualified into an event. Since that Monday qualifier, he has finished T7, third, T9, T7, T5, T7, T16, T4, 1, second, fifth, T20, T15 win.
Wow.
Look at that. Every tournament he's played is a top 20. And
so he hit the 3 top 10s, which gets you keep getting top 10s, you keep keeping your spot. That's the only reason he gets to even play. And he must have had enough money by the time the T16 comes that he's got status.
Well, did he win before then?
No.
Okay.
Because he went 3rd, 9, 7, 5, 7. So maybe, by that he had enough money, enough points.
Yep.
So then he goes 16. I mean, that's only 3 finishes outside the top
10.
10.
Right. Since the middle of last year when he Monday qualified into an event.
Wow.
He shot 62 on Saturday.
Who sent you that?
I just saw it on
you
Twitter.
saw? Okay.
So I saved it. Monday Q info.
Yeah, no, I follow them. That's why I didn't. I just didn't see it. There's an athletic article by Dan Dugan today you might want to look at, David.
Okay.
About the Giants that'll make you even more frustrated with the job Gettleman did.
Oh, please. Pat yells at me. And I said on his show, all right, Pat, I've never said this about a professional before. I could have done a better job over the last 4 years than him. That's how bad a job he did. Because I didn't want to use the 4 drunks at the end of the bar line. So I changed it up.
Huh? But there's all this. It says it's here's just a little thread.
It's unbelievable how bad he was.
But it's talking about
Sonny, I don't know. Steve Alker, I have no idea where he's from.
How do you spell his last name?
Alker. I know he won yesterday, and he followed up 62 with
He's an Aussie. He's a 50-year-old Aussie.
Yeah.
Just turned 50.
And he followed up 62 with like 65 or 66, I thought.
And he's an Arizona guy now.
I saw the post-match interview in which, the guy said, do you expect this coming in? He said, well, I took the last 2 weeks off, but I hit the ball great at practice.
Won 3 times on the Australia Asia Tour, won 2 times on the web.com, won 2 times in Canada. He's played in the Open 3 times, 4 times, made the cut once, played in the U.S. Open twice, made the cut once.
An hour and 15 minutes into Get Up, they get to tonight's national championship game.
What were they talking about before?
The NBA. And they did do the women's title game.
I was going to say that I can
understand. And then they did a little thing, I thought, quick NFL thing before this. They gave Seth Greenberg maybe 5 minutes here. Now they're back to the NFL.
Overreaction Monday in the offseason? It's an interesting whatever.
Let's do Devontae here. You want to?
Yeah.
Oh, how we got a bag of chips in return?
Well, quick, hold on a second. Aren't you getting a third?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. All coming up. So the Dolphins traded Devontae Parker. We haven't talked about that yet this morning. Here's what I found interesting about it. 2 things. One, I was a little surprised they sent him to the Patriots.
The whole in-division thing.
Yeah. I mean, he was going to be your number 4 receiver. But still, I mean, he's got some skill. They have virtually none at wide receiver. You are making them better. There wasn't one of the other 28 teams that you couldn't send him to. But obviously, this had to be the best deal on the table. And Belichick would trade him to the Dolphins in return. So, but I don't know if you've noticed, but the Dolphins in some of the deals that they've made this offseason, they have traded away 2022 picks for 2023 picks.
Correct. This was another one that they're trading away a 5th rounder this year for a 3rd rounder next year.
Right. And this is the Dolphins' way of saying, and there are many who believe them, that next year's draft will be better than this year's. So to trade even equal value, next year's pick would be better. There'll be a better player on the board.
And Miami doesn't have a 3rd round pick this year. So it's interesting that they made this deal without a 3rd round pick in this draft to get another one in next year's draft.
Right.
Now, Miami does have a late 3rd, the compensation pick at 102, I guess.
Devontae's 29. We forget he was a 1st round pick in 2015. So, he's already played 7 years with the Dolphins. He has 2 years left on his deal at around $5.7 million this year and next year. No guaranteed money, however. Patriots could cut him tomorrow, and they would just be out the draft pick. So financially, and many people believe that this is going to end N'Keal Harry's time with the Patriots, another wide receiver that they missed on.
I will say, if Parker ends up performing, Felipe, I'll just hit you. You're our Dolphins fan. If Devontae Parker ends up, 70 catches for 900 yards, somewhere in that. You'll be upset unless Miami's a playoff team, won't you?
I'll actually be a little happy for him. I'm not going to lie to you, because I think that Devontae Parker is a very underrated wide receiver, and I think that his years, because of his talent, were almost wasted in Miami because our quarterback situation was always a nightmare.
And you could argue that, and obviously New England believes that to some degree. I do think some of it's Devontae's doing. He couldn't stay healthy except for the 1 year.
Yes.
2019, he had 72 catches, 1,200 yards, and we all finally, by the way, final year of his rookie deal. And so we were like, oh, he's finally coming into his own. Or did he finally play in a contract year?
And he got nothing great out of it. I mean, I thought when Miami re-signed him, I thought they signed him to a very team-friendly deal, actually.
Agreed.
Because he was only making like $7 million a year, something like that. I thought for a first-round pick, second contract, they didn't get a lot out of him, and they kept him for a number that, to me, was palatable.
Felipe, his last 2 years, and you're right, you could blame, hey, you want to blame Tua? Want to blame Flores, their offense coordinators? Listen, it's all on the table right now. We're going to find out by the end of this year whether it's all Tua's fault or whether it was kind of like Tannehill going to Nashville and we realized, oh, wow, this was the Dolphins' fault. But in the last 2 years, he's had basically 100 catches for 1,300 yards and 6 scores combined. Right. So he's averaging 50 catches for 650 yards and 3 touchdowns a season. So that's 3 catches a game, 15 yards a catch, 13 yards a catch. So he's good for 3 catches, 13 yards a catch, and he's good for a touchdown not even once a month. That's been his last 2 years.
Now, combine the 2 years, give me 75% of that. Now we've got a pretty darn good receiver.
Yeah, and I think the Patriots are like, no, give me 100% of it. Yeah, I need all of that. So,
but I'm with you. Look, obviously it was the best deal they had. They're not afraid to trade in the division. It just seems I wouldn't want to make anybody in my division better.
Right. Now, he would have been no better than their 4th wide receiver. They were not taking Hill, Waddle, and they went out and paid money for Cedric Wilson in free agency. Between Gesicki and a couple of backs they brought in who can catch the ball, 4th wide receiver, quite frankly, means I don't know how often you're going to be on the field. And at a price tag of nearly $6 million a year, you could see why, hey, we got to unload this guy.
And everyone knew they were unloading him. So they get a 3rd next year, essentially, giving up a 5th this year, and Miami, again, stockpiling some draft picks for the future.
Right. The danger is that if he performs like he did 3 years ago, you would have preferred if he would perform like that for someone else, not named the Patriots.
Well, where does he rank now on the Patriots wide receiver chart?
Top 2.
2?
Right. So you could see why they did it. Yeah. Absolutely.
He could have a great season.
He could. Got to stay healthy. They also run the ball a lot.
And they're going to need more than 3 for 39 out of him.
I mean, that's his average game. 3 for 39.
It's got to be somewhere in the 6 for 60 range.
And
5 for 75 would be nice.
And adding him does make them better. But I think for the first time, really in my entire life, going into a season, I'm still not worried about the Patriots. I am not worried about the Patriots.
And you know what? I don't think he's any different than right now any Dolphin fan under the age of 25. Everybody else has seen it for so long.
That. I mean, they did make the playoffs last year and your team didn't, even though you swept them. That is another factor here. I mean, Brian Flores went 4-2 against the Patriots during his 3 years.
Last year was weird.
There's no doubt. It was weird. Because remember, the first win came opening day, and then you lost 7 straight. And then the last win comes at the very end of the year. It was weird. But it's not often that you can finish above 500, sweep the second-place team in your division, and finish behind them. And the Dolphins managed to pull that off.
And, of course, all the preseason rankings last year indicated the Dolphins would probably make the playoffs as a wild card team. So after week 1, we're like, oh. It's the year for the porpoises.
Well, we thought going into New England, winning week 1, we're like, this could be big at the end of the year in a tiebreaker scenario. Mark, I don't know if you believe this, but in our Twitch chat room, a gentleman says, as a Finns fan, I worry about every team until they prove they can win consistently.
Well, and I am guessing this is a little bit older Dolphin fan who doesn't have anything in recent memory that they can hold on to. Felipe's still in the winning or hope.
Right.
And the hope right now has,
well,
come on, David, you and I have been doing this for almost 15 years together. I guess we have been doing it for 15 years together.
Yes, we have.
Has there ever been this much hope for a Miami Dolphin team heading into the season? Since you and I have teamed up.
Saban's second year, there was a lot of hype. Remember, they made the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Peter King or someone there picked him to win the Super Bowl, forgetting that they had Gus Frerotte at quarterback. And after they had that 6-year run with Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wannstedt heading into Dave's third year, when they had made the playoffs the last 2 years and they went and got Ricky.
But that's
20 years ago.
That's before you and I. I'm saying since you and I have worked together, Nick's second year, there was a lot of hype. But I don't think there was the hope that right now, the Dolphin fan feels they're going to the playoffs this year. And that they're looking at the Bills going, all right, if we're right about Tua, we're coming.
And the older Doll fan is going, can we just make the playoffs?
Bingo.
That'd be great.
Bingo.
We finish ahead of the Patriots and make the playoffs. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. It is all coming up. Thanks so much for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Can't believe he's alive.
David was thinking the same thing.
Ooh, Magic?
He contracted the HIV virus
in
November of 91. November 7th of 91 is when he announced his retirement. All right.
I mean,
do you know what the life expectancy was when you contracted the HIV virus, when Magic did?
No.
You didn't last the decade.
Oh.
At all. And that wasn't a good scenario. I read the CDC's on the radio. I read what the CDC said about HIV patients right now and the treatment in the 90s and how long your life expectancy was. Magic was not, and he found a cocktail and he could afford to pay for it and all that. But I mean, he's lived almost 31 years with HIV here.
He looks good. Why is he? Oh, he's talking about the Lakers, of course. I was like, why is he on the show? Oh,
We're training.
And Felipe, this is the difference between you, born in the 21st century. Medicine, AIDS is not the thing that it was when we were your age. In fact, Mark was your age.
I was in college when Magic got AIDS.
You were at State.
I was in a class. I did one of those movie classes, an English class where you watch movies and wrote papers on it.
I had that, yeah.
And it was a night class on a Wednesday, and we got there and we didn't watch the movie, and all we talked about was this.
Damn.
And this is an English class, and the professor going, and I don't know if you remember, he said when Magic dies, but it was like, it was instant. You were talking about him in the past tense.
Yes. Oh God.
Yep. No. Who was it? Well, in the Magic documentary, who's the sports writer who said at his press conference, we were all so sad because we realized we're all going to watch this figure with this great smile and this larger than life person who was going to wither away and die before our eyes.
That's horrible.
But that's
what it was.
That's what it was in November of 91.
If you've watched Bohemian Rhapsody, you see Freddie Mercury got AIDS. He died.
Yeah. Instantly.
That's what happened.
He died only a few months, I believe, before Magic announced he had it.
Damn. Mark, I'm surprised. So what was the last thing you watched on TV last night?
Grammys.
You didn't watch the new episode of Winning Time, huh?
I've not upped my HBO yet.
Oh.
I got to get it, and I'll just binge watch it.
Wait.
I watched the first two because they had a free weekend.
Oh.
No. I've been too. And I probably won't do it till next week.
Klecko. The Philly comes out, 93? I think the movie came out.
New episode came out last night. Was so good.
I bet.
So good. You need to catch up. It's really good.
Oh, I can't wait.
I could hook you up with something.
I by the way, David, I think I'm either 4 or 5 into Ozark because I don't have time.
It's really good.
When the old lady shoots the limo driver in front of Wyatt and Ruth, I love her.
It's an amazing character. They're going to have to kill her.
Well, yeah.
It's an amazing character.
She killed her husband.
The two best characters are Ruth and the old lady.
And Ruth, right?
Yeah.
You know what? Don't continue.
Oh, I will say they've done a good job. I hate Marty's wife.
So funny you say that, and I love her as an actress.
No, but I hate that character.
Totally.
And they have done an amazing job.
Right. I'm rooting for Ruth to kill her and have Marty and Ruth finish the show. Right. Absolutely. I'd be fine with it.
One thing I like about the Winning Time show that they kind of display in this new episode, the guy that plays Kareem, they really capture his bald spot on the top of his afro. Like they purposely give him a bald spot. Yeah. It's awesome.
Good to see that Twitter's up 22% today. Thank you, Elon Musk.
Yeah, I was about to say, Elon.
Is he buying it or just
jumped in it? No, he jumped in and got like 9% of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's now the highest stockholder, I guess.
Individual stockholder or something like that.
Stockholder, yeah. All that jazz. That 1980 Celtics.
Logic, man, I've yet to get, because I don't have, Apple Plus, Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
haven't gotten it there yet. But when I do, I'll be like Mark. In the middle of summer, I'll just be binge watching it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? And our final thoughts on Kansas and North Carolina, all coming up. Busy day this April 4th in our nation's history. It's also my wife's birthday. Happy birthday, honey. Love you. Now go to work. I joke. Time now for
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When.
Well, Mark, going back to 1841, 181 years ago today, John Tyler becomes the 10th president of the United States because William Henry Harrison caught pneumonia given his, inaugural speech there and died. So, John Tyler, president, today in 1841.
JT.
Yeah, right. He was the original before Timberlake. 105 years ago today, 1917, the U.S. Senate votes to join World War I. The vote was 82-6. Remember, we don't have all 50 states yet. So we don't have 100 voting on these things. 1937, Byron Nelson wins the Masters today. It was just the 4th Masters ever. It was the first of his 5 majors. Only won 5. Pretty prominent golfer to only win 5. Competition was pretty tough then. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hogan, Snead. Yeah. 1949, the NATO treaty was signed. North American. 1964, the Beatles, Can't Buy Me Love. The single goes number 1.
Well, it does go number 1. And number 2 on the charts was Twist and Shout by the Beatles. Number 3 on the charts was She Love You by the Beatles. Number 4 on the charts was I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. And the Beatles had number 5 on the charts with Please Please Me.
What are you trying to say? They had it going on in the spring in 64?
And the top 5 spots on the Billboard Hot 100. That's all.
One of the darkest days in our nation's history, 54 years ago today. Martin Luther King Jr. assassinated in front of on the balcony of the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis. There were riots in over 100 cities in America. 1973, the World Trade Center opens. 110 floors. At the time, the world's tallest building. 1973. 1 year later, opening day, April 4th was, of the Major League Baseball season. Hank Aaron, who hit 40 homers in 73 to get to 713 homers off Jack Billingham in Cincinnati to tie Babe Ruth's record. I believe they kept him in the game. He plays that day, and I think they hold him out until they return home to Atlanta. Because
I'm almost positive you're correct because they wanted to make sure that he broke the record
at home
at Fulton County Stadium.
1975, Bill Gates, Paul Allen. They founded this little company called Microsoft. 1983, it was a Monday night in Albuquerque.
Ah, I know where you're going here.
NC State 54, Houston 52. During that run of remarkable NCAA Final Fours and championship games.
More to get to the bonus +1 than any other run ever. Valvano fouling everybody throughout, forcing teams to shoot free throws.
Down 6 in a first-round game against Jim Herrick and Pepperdine with under 30 seconds to go, with no three-point shot. And they escape and go on their run. Houston taking the air out of the ball. Remember, NC State had the lead. Houston comes back. They're up by like 7. And the guy Lewis, midway through the second half, because Akeem was exhausted in the altitude of Albuquerque, he's on the bench getting oxygen. He takes the air out of the ball.
Best air ball ever.
Yes. Or as Derek Wittenberg says, talking about it's an assist. Tulane in 1985 canceled the upcoming basketball season because they were in so much turmoil. It was 34 years ago tonight. Danny and the Miracles. Danny Manning in Kansas beat Oklahoma 83-79. Felipe, the remarkable part about this game, besides the fact that Oklahoma was the number 1 team in the country and Kansas was the 6th seed, was that the first half was 50-50. It rolled the balls out because Kansas is going to have to play slow, and they can't get into a track meet with Oklahoma. And Larry Brown said, "Bull blank. They don't play any defense. Go take it to them." And the halftime score was 50-50. Second half, Kansas said, "Well, we can't do this for 40 minutes. Let's slow it down." And they won 83-79. So on this day in 1991, Senator John Hines and 6 others were killed when the helicopter that they were in crashed in Pennsylvania. Last interview he did was with a local TV station. He was literally the door to the airplane. It was behind him. And the reporter did the interview and what have you. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if she was back at her newsroom.
Crazy.
Before the helicopter crashed. 28 years ago tonight, Arkansas beat Duke 76-72. Scotty Thurman, the big 3 in the final minute. And it was Arkansas's first ever and still only championship. Mark, 25 years ago today, the Braves opened Turner Field. They faced the Cubs. 17 years ago today, Roy Williams finally wins the national championship, but he does so with Carolina. They beat Illinois 75-70. 13 years ago today, Mark, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class, Jeff Beck, Metallica, and Eminem introduced Run DMC. You okay with Jeff Beck, Metallica, Run DMC?
It's perfect.
That'll work for you.
That works out really well.
Kemba Walker completed what was the greatest double tournament run that we've ever seen. The 5 games to win the Big East tournament, and then the 6 to win the national championship when UConn beat Butler. How about this one? 53-41.
Ooh, cardiac Kemba.
Ooh, that was ugly, though. 6 years ago tonight, Villanova, the 3 at the buzzer, they beat Carolina 77-74. And last year on this day, Stanford edged Arizona in women's hoops. Stanford's 3rd ever title, 54-53. A lot of famous people were born on this day, Mark. Muddy Waters, Maya Angelou, Tris Speaker, Gil Hodges, NASCAR chairman Bill France, Bart Giamatti, Ray Fosse, Pat Burns, legendary hockey coach Dale Hawerchuk, all born on this day, all no longer with us. Big Mama, Joanne Carner's 83. How about that?
Still hit it by most of us.
Craig T. Nelson is 78. Tommy Herr is 66. Jack Del Rio's 59. Robert Downey Jr. is 57. Roberto Luongo's 43, which is how old Heath Ledger would have been. Anderson Silva's 47. David Blaine's 49. And Alexis Ohanian is 39. May not know him. He co-founded Reddit. Oh, yeah, he's Serena Williams' husband. And that is Today Was the Day.
2 small omissions. This one just because I am guessing right now you had this cassette, David. Today in 81, Styx hits #1 with Paradise Theater. It's a huge album.
Had the album.
Yeah, I had the cassette.
Had the album.
And it was 7 years ago that Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly hits #1 in America. Maybe the best hip-hop album of the last 10 years.
You have taken the words out of my mouth. And somehow it did not win the Grammy for most best rap album.
Hey, we've gone over this. There were a couple who were snubbed last night in the Grammys, in which people are up in arms over. We talked about, we rattled off 8 roles in films that Paul Newman was far superior in before they finally gave him the gift Oscar in a color. What was it? Color Money.
In fact, the album that beat out To Pimp a Butterfly, I believe, was a Macklemore album called The Heist. And many think that it was a heist.
There you have it.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to Denver, where Colorado is launching an auction for the rights of 22 different official state license plate configurations with cannabis-themed phrases. If you want Bong water is your license plate. Edible, blunt, toker, hash, Visine, or dabbing. You can get it in auction. All the money raised in the auction benefits the Colorado Disability Funding Committee to use for grants for disability assistance. For the bad, we'll go right to the waters in Lee County, where Steve Long was arrested after ripping off stone crab traps. After stopping his boat, police questioned him to find if there were any stone claws or stone claw traps on board. He said there weren't. When police searched the vessel, there were 18 traps, a blue crab trap, and of the stone crabs, only one was long enough to even keep, so he's going to have to pay a lot of fines, and he doesn't look like he can. Finally, the ugly, we go to Pasco County, where Gregory Sorensen was, and I repeat, was a driving instructor. He was pulled over on US 19 over the weekend with an open 24-pack of Natty Lights.
Oh, boy.
And by the time he failed multiple sobriety tests and had a blood alcohol content of nearly 3 times the legal limit, it's pretty fair to say that he'll never be driving or be a driving instructor again. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 4th, 2022.
Carolina and Kansas for the national championship tonight. We'll say it again. 9:20 TBS. TBS.
He's not being very funny. He's being very serious.
Kansas, a 4-point favorite. It's the focus of our poll question. Please vote if you haven't already. At that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network on Twitter, or FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Who are you picking to cut down the nets tonight?
Bucks at the Bulls. Pay attention to that if you're a Heat fan to see what they're doing. Raptors host the Hawks. Hawks still battling around for that final playoff spot. The Heat host the Hornets. Miami has to win 2 of the next 3, and they're guaranteed the 1 seed.
And their final game of the year is in Orlando. So the thought is if they beat Charlotte tonight, it's basically a fait accompli. There's a couple of hockey games worth paying attention to tonight. Toronto's in Tampa. Maple Leafs and Lightning, they are tied in the standings. And they've also tied in the number of games played. Now, there's still like 14 or so games left in the hockey season. So there's a full month of hockey left. But Toronto and Tampa Bay tied could easily be a first-round playoff series, and games like this could determine who has home ice.
And Toronto technically the 2 right now because they have one more regulation or one more win than the Lightning do. So big game, and the Lightning have not been playing great against other playoff teams.
In fact, in the Eastern Conference, of the 8 teams that are firmly in the playoffs right now, Washington would have to collapse and the Islanders would have to keep on keeping on. But of the 8 that are in playoff position right now, the Lightning have the worst record against the other 7 of those 8 teams. And it's not close.
And Boston on the road tonight in Columbus. So if this is a regulation game and Boston wins, they're going to be tied with whoever the loser is between the Leafs and the Lightning. It is going to be a hell of a race the rest of the way in the National Hockey League.
And Calgary can go a long way to winning the division. They're 3 points up on the Kings, and they have 3 games in hand on LA, and they play in LA tonight. They win, they'll be 5 points up with 3 games in hand. Tough to imagine they won't win the Pacific. Kings win to pull within a point. Well, at least it makes things interesting.
So that's a little bit of what's going on tonight. But I'm imagining most people will be watching the Natty. David, who you got?
I like Kansas. If I'm Carolina, I'm forcing them to beat me from the perimeter. I don't think Agbaji can go 6 of 7 from deep again. And I've seen Kansas games where they can't put the ball in the ocean from the perimeter, but they've been playing really well since the second. I mean, the last 60 minutes that Kansas played, the last 20 against Miami and the Villanova game. I mean, they're the best team in the tournament. That's 60 minutes. They're the best team in the tournament.
They are.
But I can't allow Kansas's bigs if I'm Carolina. First off, I don't have a big that can defend McCormick there. I don't have a guy. And the best guy I have is on one good leg tonight. And I'm afraid you get him in foul trouble, we're absolutely toast. That's another reason why I'm doubling down on him. I want him to kick it out because I think he'll foul out my whole front line.
And with The kid banged up with the ankle right now. You can't afford to go. They don't have the bench to go deep. I will say Carolina has shot the ball so well in so many games that they're going to be in this game. I don't think it's a blowout. I'm going to take Kansas. I'd lay the 4 at the end of the day because I just think they've been playing as hot as anybody, and that's why they're where they're at right now. I think they're a deeper team. They can go inside and outside and have in this tournament. I like Kansas. I think they win by probably 8 points by the time it's done.
It's funny you say that. I picked Kansas 76-69. That would be an over-under of 145. The over-under is 152. So if you think about that, that's saying 78-74 Kansas is what the over-under and the spread is saying.
Mattress Mac dumped $3.3 million on the Jayhawks.
He's gotten a lot of big bets wrong lately.
Yeah, his streak is bad.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth.